Episode 123 of the Wilderness Podcast is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. Support the show at patreon.com/the Wilderness Podcast. Our supporter of the week is Level 100 Raichu. We're also brought to you by Audible. Get a free month and a free audiobook at audibletrial.com/wild. Welcome to episode 123 of the Wilderness Podcast. So a quick note before we get into things. Audio might sound different right now because I've had to go back and re-record this quick little intro. Something happened with my editing software. All the voices and all the vocal tracks got messed up. I mean, we're talking in halftime for most of it. I'm pretty sure I fixed it all, but we sounded drunk and I could not fix this beginning part. So if we sound different in this episode, it's just because something went wonky and I could not for the life of me figure it out. Anyways, what we have coming up this episode, we got some Song of the Elf talk, and really the biggest news this week is a T-Bow bug where an infinite spawn of T-Bows was popping up, which is a big deal because T-Bows are one of the most expensive items in the game. It's top 5 for sure. Anyways, back into the original recording. I'd have to double check some of the third age items, but it's up there.
Yeah, second or third.
Yeah.
It's up there, yeah. Maybe fourth or fifth, but whatever.
It's an expensive item.
Yeah.
Anyways, we've also got some quality of life coming into the game, as well as some Chambers of Xeric changes. And lastly, Crack the Clue, hint number 2 is released. With winter coming close to an end, the Dead Man mode, spring finals, and summer season dev blog gets brought up.
Yeah, and there's some controversial changes.
It wouldn't be an old school RuneScape dev blog if there wasn't.
Yep.
And finally, unless I'm missing something, Jagex released the requirements for the Song of the Elves quest. And I think that's about it for what we're going to go over this week. But before we get into all of that, Deegan, what did you do this week?
Oh, buddy.
All right, strap yourself in, boys.
Oh, buddy, what a week. So, this marks the end, I guess, of the first week of my T-Bow rebuild.
Really? It's only been a week? All right, well.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Last
maybe.
week, I got that T-Bow 4-man.
Did you pick it up off the ground?
No, I mean, like last time we recorded, right?
Yeah.
But funny enough, I got another T-Bow 4-man.
Actually?
Yeah, and
No,
this one was in my name.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so it was in a 6-day period, I got 2 4-man splits on a T-Bow.
Man, what the hell?
Yeah, and it's really funny because
I must have missed that one on the Discord.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so I got that. I got a 4-man Kodai split, 2-man Dex.
All right, did you get super lucky, or did you just no life raids this week?
Well, 2 T-Bows in 6 days. That's luck.
Unless you did like 4,000 raids.
Well, not that much. It would be like 400. But, so I did almost 100 raids this week. So depending on which groups I was running with, my raid times were between like 25 to like 35 minutes each. So you do the math, and that's a lot of RuneScape.
That's a full-time job right there.
I mean, I'd come home from work and then like raid and then then go to work the next day.
Take some caffeine pills and you're like, all right.
Yeah, start some Adderall, go back to work. I'm like, wow, Derek, you're Deegan,
you're efficient today.
Yeah.
Just wait till tomorrow.
Gotta get my T-Bow. But
all right, so you got your second T-Bow.
Yep.
I guess the rebuild's going pretty good.
It's almost done.
That
So
was a fun week.
Yeah, so I got 17 mil from the Kodai split, which is like on the same drop table as a T-Bow. So how funny it would have been if I got 2.
Yeah, that'd be very funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
But, and then the 2-man Dex went for like 33 mil. And then the T-Bow went for like, I got almost 300 mil from that. So, and it was in my name. That's my favorite thing is now I could look at that collection log.
That is true.
Check that one off. It's pretty decently lucky, but what they, I don't know, Chambers of Xeric has become it feels like it's just better, like it's faster, so you get more raids done quickly. And also, like...
You're saying the change they've made has caused the raid itself to be a quicker run.
Oh, especially this week, we'll get into it. They're kind of going, in my opinion, they've gone a little overboard, but it's noticeably easier than like last year. Because like at this point, I'm almost half the raids I've done have been solos.
Now, are you taking in consideration though that you've got your T-bow now? You're getting better gear, right? That's going to affect the raid time.
Yeah, but there's rooms where, like, I'll go into it in more detail, but even beforehand, just the way the mechanics are, and, like, when I'm doing things that you don't use a T-bow for, like, when you're killing the melee hand, the fact that Dragon Hunter Lance is a thing, is really strong, and it's, like, noticeable. There's like a lot of little changes I'll talk more about, I guess, later on when we start talking about the Chamber Berserk changes.
Sure, yeah.
But I've been enjoying it, and like last year this time I was just kind of ripping solos, and I wasn't doing no preps. Like I was still prepping and doing suicides, and I wasn't like, because Ulm's hard. I guess people who haven't raided, I'll just like reiterate. When you first learn solo raids, it's way harder than like doing 2-man or 3-man and up.
Oh, definitely.
And so when you're first learning, you go like before you fight Ulm, you like make all your potions you need, and then you would bring a full inventory of like whatever potions you're gonna need, and you would suicide, and then you do that because you have less points when you like you don't want to die mid Ulm fight and have to prep.
Right, because when you die, you lose a percentage of your points.
Yeah. So the whole thing is rip the Band-Aid off, die, lose a smaller percentage, and then you go in and finish it. And so I did that for like a lot, and I like if I were to do a solo, I would still do it because it's been so long. And there's like these weird methods. I won't go into too much detail on how you can like manipulate Ulm so you won't need to die.
Is this the Wooks video or the way he solos it?
Well, yeah, the way like people who solo it now, they're like proficient at raids, like the efficient way, I guess. The way you solo is like, yeah, you can run between certain spots and you can avoid entire mechanics.
Right.
It is pretty hard to do though.
Yeah, it's all like precision, like it's tick perfect, right? Your timing has to be on point.
And you have to know Ulm's and attack patterns. It's the biggest thing.
Okay.
It's attack and a special attack patterns. But the only reason I bring this up is that, so my first like half of my raids, I averaged like 25,000 points. I had a spreadsheet, and not 25, maybe it was like 22-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time that was like not a good chance. It averaged like every 33-ish raids I would get a drop.
Yep.
But when you do like 3-4-mans, I'm like seeing like a lot more like 70,000 to like 80,000 point raids.
Right, yeah.
Which are just way more, and then there's just more chance. Like it's a higher chance to just see drops, and yeah. But it is nice. Like I'm not saying I'm not lucky. Obviously, I'm pretty lucky to see 2 T-bows and 400 kill count.
Yeah. I mean that's pretty good.
Yeah, like 450, whatever I'm at now. But yeah. And then I did a bunch of Zulrah. I was like over 2 times the kill count dry and a unique, and then I got back-to-back Onyxes in like one day.
That's not bad. That's good, right?
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, the 4 uniques that I've gotten are all Onyxes, which is nice, but like it is the worst unique to get in terms of like money.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then one day before work, I'm doing Zulrah, and I get a Serpent Visage.
Okay, what's that fall? Because you have the 2 fangs. One makes the Trident of the Swamps, and one makes the blowpipe, right?
Yeah, the Visage makes a Serp Helm.
Yeah. So where does the Visage sit when it comes to like value?
Almost 4 mil. See, the thing is that I'll say it now because I'm like, by the time you guys hear this, like it'll either work and then it won't work anymore, or it just doesn't work. But if you craft the Visage into a Serp Helm, I made like 200 extra K on it.
Ah.
So I've been buying Visages, or like the Serp Visage, and then crafting them into Serp helms and flipping them, because I'm thinking, hey, there's actually a lot of gold farmers at Zulrah that I've noticed. Like there's a healthy amount. Like, you're like, oh, Jesus. Because I've been doing a lot of Zulrah this week. Pretty much just raising Zulrah. That's it. And I'm like, you know what? These gold farmers have, like, no crafting level. They're Venezuelan. They don't care. They're losing 200k. Like, they're there to just min-max, right?
Sure.
And so I've been, buying some, crafting them, selling them.
Do you think that has to do with the buff to the helmet as well? Do you think that plays a part?
Yeah, because I notice people are raiding with a Serp helm now.
Yeah, because they've now made the strength bonus. They reverted it, like, years ago, it feels like. They made this nerf where it had a better strength bonus than the Natasnot helmet. They nerfed it to, I think it was on par with the helmet, the same strength bonus.
It went from 5 to 3.
Yeah, so then nobody was using it.
Well, they stopped using it because the Serp helm was nice, because when you took damage, or like when not even took damage, when someone attacked you, you had a chance to venom them.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a YouTuber, I think his name's Teeks with a Z.
Okay.
Who's like, he's a 10 HP account, and he's one of like 2 in the whole game that has the fire cape.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was able to just pray and venom everything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But like, it's still a big accomplishment. Like, it's still hard to do.
Yeah, you gotta be able to tick heat and stuff.
Yeah, very tricky. And he was able to do that. And they reverted that, and it kind of became useless. Like, I remember doing Sarah with that helmet, and the minions would be like dead. You'd kill like Ziliana, and the minions would have just have venomed themselves to death.
Yeah.
At that point.
Anyways, recently they buffed it again, so the strength bonus is back to 5, but they didn't give it the added effect of venoming your opponent when you get hit. Now it just instantly poisons them, I believe, if you're using a blowpipe or a weapon that poisons.
Tentacle whip, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so it's the perk isn't there, but its strength bonus is back now, which is nice.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, everyone's using it, so I'm assuming it's just better. But I use like a Natasnot just because the Serp helm gives -5 magic and ranged attack bonus.
Yeah, I'm glad they buffed it, only because now I can actually bust it out and it's more useful. Like, we did a Bandos trip, and I was tanking it, and I was like, oh, I get to bust this out because it has good tank defense, and it's going to give me some more strength bonus. It's just nice to have a little bit of a variety to work with.
Yeah. But yeah, so, like, last thing about the, like, Tebow rebuild, and then I don't think I have too much to say in terms of what I've done this week, just because it's literally been, like, work, raids, sleep, or if no one's on to raid, I'm doing Zulrah.
Cool.
And then just chatting with the CC and chilling. So, it was really nice to get that second Tebow split, obviously, but it's, like, bittersweet in the sense that, like, the rebuild, I was actually really enjoying the rebuild.
Yeah, now it's over.
And, like, well, I still have a long way to go. That got me, like, pretty much full Ancestral. I got my Avernic hilt. I got, like, my BCP, my Bandos chestplate back. I have, like, all my jewels back. You know what I mean? I have, like, my boots back. Like, I'm really pretty much lacking Tacits, which I'm going to save for last. And then Arma.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm, like, back up to par, saving to buy niche items.
It only took you 2 weeks.
Yeah, oh, and I got Dragon Claws, too. I bought them.
Oh, okay. For what?
So, I don't know if I talked about this last episode, and I'm sorry if I did, but when I started the rebuild, I, like, set some time, and I, like, planned out, because, like, my item purchases, like, might have sounded weird to some people, where, like, why is the first thing you're doing is, like, spending over 150 mil on Max Mage? Like, who really needs the gear that much? You know, like, the average person would probably want, like, Bandos and Arma, right? You're not, like, maging all the time.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Yeah, so I'll explain all that in a second. But my main goal was, so with the Tebow rebuild, I was going to specifically get, like, the basic Chambers of Xerix items. And that would be, like, Dragon Warhammer, at the time, like, Abbey Dagger. For Vasa specifically, I was going to buy an Elder Maul for Tecton specifically, but Elder Maul's, like, you don't really use it anymore unless you're soloing for, like, other reasons.
Okay.
And then just like random stuff that like you would kind of bring with Void, and then I would go for learner setups for Theater of Blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'd get like Dragon Claws, which you aren't needed to learn it, but it's like Dragon Claws or DDS.
Right.
There's a big difference, and it's like I have no problem saving up for the claws. Yeah, so I wanted to do that, and that was the plan. So I had all that in mind, and then at that point, then I would start like working backwards to like what I want to keep doing. And the idea was to like do a little bit of Zulrah, but it's kind of just whatever. And then get out of Void for raids after I have like my Theater of Blood stuff, and then buy items that I need for raids. And like Ancestral's super, like, it's so good for raids. It's ridiculous. Because when you're like when you're using your Trident on like the mage hand, the like accuracy and the damage bonus you get is like huge.
Yeah.
And especially with the changes that they did to one of the rooms this week, which we'll talk about. It's like, it's pretty nice. And then from there, you just need a Bandos chestplate. And then like you work on the arm later.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah. So it was really fun to like plan out all my items. But then like, I just got really lucky. And then it's like pretty much like, I'm in the final stretch of it. And then I'll like hopefully start learning Theater of Blood soon. And then from there, I'm going to build towards Inferno Cape.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to focus heavy on PVM. And then if I start getting burnt out, then I'll like segue to another account I want to start for fun. Like a
was this the
account.
Fashionscape account?
I wanted to do that, but
it's already changed.
Someone took my name like the day after I mentioned it, like what it was and everything.
What was the name?
It was Hobwana.
Hobwana?
Hot Buana.
Okay.
Like Brimhaven Buana.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was like going to be like a tribal at the Obor Club, and it's going to be like a silly thing I was going to do for fun. It was a dumb account. I was like, you know what? And then I'll like try and PK with it and just kind of troll around.
And someone stole it.
Yeah. That's fine, though. I have a couple accounts I want to mess around with, and I want to finish some accounts. So if I start getting burnt out on PVM, then I can just, like, transition to, like, some of my skilling goals I have set. So I have it all nice and planned out.
Nice little spreadsheet.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, what did you do this week?
Kind of bit of the same old grinds. Doing some winter totting, rune crafting. Almost finished my Hydra Slayer task. It's taking me like 3 months to do this one.
Yeah, for real. I've gone through 3 or 4 tasks of Hydra specifically.
Yeah, I'm usually doing other things. Just haven't been like really. Anyways, I'm almost finished it, so it's not too bad. I'll sit down and grind out a few, and then take some breaks. But yeah, winter tot, and I do my farming. I try to do it every day, but doesn't always go that way. I think I'm at 94 farming, 94 fire making. 83 rune crafting.
Nice.
I want to say.
Wait, do you have Vorcast syndrome with Hydra? You gear up, you just sit outside the room, and you're like...
A little bit. Like, I had it today. Like, I had it all geared up to do some Hydra. And then I came home after class, went to go do it, but then I saw a YouTube video that looked interesting, and I was like, I'm going to watch this. And then I was like, oh, it's more of a visual video. I'm just going to sit here and not do the task right now. And I ended up just sitting there for like 15, 20 minutes. That's my only problem. Although, like, I think it was last night I cracked away for a couple hours at it. I was able to get the rhythm down where after a certain amount of time, I could just guess what his next auto attack would be, and I wasn't really counting it.
Yeah.
Which worked out pretty well.
It's all in 3s. 3 attacks is first special, 3, and then it's 9 attacks for a second, but every 3 he switches styles.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll be finishing that one up soon, but yeah, I kind of just go on whatever I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll hop on and be like, I feel like killing an easier boss, I guess. I'll go and do some Callisto runs. I tried to do some Vedion trips, and then I realized how much of a pain in the ass that boss is to kill.
Well, you're supposed to safe spot him.
Yeah, you have to safe spot it, which is a pain. Just to get him in the position. Like, I spend like half my time trying to get him into the safe spot. It's just annoying, right? Because what you have to do is you have to lure him to part of the map, but then you have to, let's say you have to move him east 1 or 2 tiles. That means you have to step to his west and then move underneath him.
Yeah.
And hopefully he moves back 1.
Yeah, you gotta push him.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't push him. He'll just start dancing around you, and then he goes west instead of east. And you're like, now I have 2 tiles to work with. Great. So it's a stupid. Like, they should make it easier
to save spot.
No, yeah. Do something so people don't feel like safe spotting is the best way to do it. Because you can safe spot Callisto, but I just Varrock it. I can get 2 kills a trip if I'm lucky.
Safe spotting is like safer though. Like, you're not in multi.
Yeah.
You can just anti-PK. You know how many times I've seen a dude killing Callisto and then 10 minutes later I'm running from him because he's just got my number? Because you're like, he's on AGS. Oh no. Run. Barrage and run. Freeze him and run.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. I'm trying to think what I've been doing, but there's nothing. I'm just drawing a blank.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I've been watching a bunch of these YouTube series that settled. You're probably aware he does this Ultimate Iron Man in Mauritania only account.
Yep.
Which kind of, I don't know if that's what sparked the trend or if people are just becoming more aware of these other series that were going on. But Verf, he does Ultimate Iron Man on Karamja.
Yep.
And I've been just looking around, like, finding other videos that are doing these series, and I'm in, like, kind of, I don't know, this, something about them is really appealing, and I'll be watching the videos, and then I'll find myself going, like, I really want to make a Ultimate Iron Man, or maybe just an Iron Man on Zaya only account. Like, I'll start trying to think of other things that I could do, even though I know I'm not going to have any time for it, because just watching them do some of these grinds, it's the most tedious thing.
Yeah.
Like, the Ultimate Iron Man on Karamja, to level his farming, he's just raking weeds.
Yeah.
Until he gets to a certain level. So it's great to watch on a video for these people who can sit down and spend more time doing it, but I know for myself that I still want to do all these things on my main, that if I were to start this novelty account, I'm not going to get anywhere on either of them.
Yeah.
So.
Like, I was telling you, I don't, were we talking about it on the podcast? I don't know. But, like, I wanted to do, I was thinking about doing an Ultimate Iron Man Zia, just for like, the memes, but mainly because I was talking to my one buddy, and he was, like, explaining how he got his Fury.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was able to, like, and I was like, I don't know. I don't want to, like, okay, well, pretty much the idea was it would be really cool to have an Ultimate Iron Man Zia only, because you can get a Fury.
Yeah, you can.
Which a lot of people don't know, and you'd have to go and you'd have to camp Lizardman Shamans.
What?
For a Dragon Warhammer.
Right,
which would be, because I did a lot of research and I had like plans on how I would do it, but then I'm like, this is way more easier to plan it and then be like, if I were to do videos, I do it like that. And then you're like, that's an 800-hour grind right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, no, I'm not doing this. But you would like do a bunch of stuff, set it up so you can sit there and do your Lizardman Shaman grind for a Warhammer, which would be your best in slot crush, and then you would go to challenge mode Xerix, and Tecton's the first boss.
Oh, nice.
Which I believe has a 1 in 400 or 1 in 450. I don't remember the number. And dropping an Onyx.
I thought it was less than that.
I think it's like 400 or something. I could be wrong.
Keep describing it. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, go fact check me. So, and because it's the first room, and because there's a flinching method you can do to Tecton, but the speed of the Warhammer, I think, I want to say, actually no, I think. Okay, can you double fact check me on something? Can you look how fast a Dragon Warhammer is?
Okay, so the Onyx varies between 1 in 70 and 1 in 450, depending on the size of the party.
Yeah, so solo would be like a 450.
Yeah, assuming.
Yeah, and then what's the attack speed of a Dragon Warhammer? I should know this because I put like when we record, I have my computer turned off, so on my notes I'm like have to go off the top of my head.
Because your computer sounds like a truck.
Yeah, literally though.
Speed is 6, so your attack is every 3.6 seconds.
Yeah, so it's a 6-tick weapon, which means there's a flinching method, which is being able to attack Tecton without him hitting you back. And so you can do the flinching method on Tecton, which means you don't need any supplies to kill him. And because it's the first boss, you just jump in and out like in challenge modes over and over and over. And you kill him, you get the Onyx. You're going to have to get the crafting level, though it sucks.
Yeah.
But if you already get the crafting level and you can like get some wool and string it, and you don't, let's say you don't have the magic level for whatever reason, he also drops an overload, and you can use the overload and get like a crazy stat boost to your magic. And I think you only would need like 65 or something magic. I don't know. I really should have wrote this in my hand before we started.
I was about to ask, well, where are you going to get this ball of
Imps.
wool? Imps, and it turns out there's 3 shops that sell them on Zaya.
Okay, that would have been better. My plan was just like imps, because you need other stuff. But yeah. And then, so you're able, like, you could boost your magic level to enchant it. Like, there's all these really cool things you can do. And there's actual, like, there's a lot of content you can do from the account. But I have to learn no preps without Void.
Oh, yeah.
I have to find a way to do no preps without stamina potions, which I don't think that's possible.
No, I guess, yeah, it wouldn't be possible.
You don't get any staminas. You'd have to bring strange fruit, which you can thieve because they give you run energy.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say you could bring in the agility or the super energy, but no, that's you got to get the mushrooms. Right? That's the second ingredient for...
I thought it was chocolate dust.
No, that's for regular energy. So super energies, it's the Mort Meyer fungus.
Okay.
And I was thinking, oh, you can get them from those mutated zygomites, but I'm thinking Fossil Island.
Hey, that's an idea.
Fossil Island only account.
Yeah. Dead content.
I mean, it'd be interesting for like 3 episodes, and you're like, okay, I'm at the end game already.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool things, and I want to do it, and that was kind of my side project I want to do for if I got bored on my main. I just want to like skill and AFK. But it's ridiculous. It's oversaturated. Let's be real. There's probably like 8 people doing it right now.
I did stumble across at least one series of it.
Yeah.
There's so many of these series out right now.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but I linked in the Discord. And I don't even know if it's good or fun to watch, but there's a minigame only Iron Man account.
Here's me getting all the Castle War items.
Yeah, and nobody's playing today.
Yeah.
And then, well, you got Barbarian Assault, at least.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean, probably more to do than you'd expect, but still.
Yeah.
Interesting.
See, like, the thing that's special about, like, Settled's account is, there's a lot of things to do in Canifis that we didn't realize. I think that's part of it.
Not just that, but he has that end game goal, which is like, this is what I'm working up towards, which is Theater of Blood. Zaya, you have Chambers of Zarek, which still tough, although you can...
Like, you could brute force that goal.
Exactly.
So you have to find, like, things to make it more, like, I want a Fury first. But also, like, maybe like a Deathless, you have to figure that out. But...
And then Verf, the guy who does the Kramja only account, he has the Inferno that he could work up towards.
Yeah, Fire Cape and Inferno and stuff like that.
So I do think that's what makes these accounts, that there's like a lot to do in between, but there's the boss, so to say.
Yeah, and I think like Zia would be really fun because you're not really like you can hunt. There's normal Chinchampas there, so you could use them to power level range to some extent.
Cool.
The only issue I can think of is Slayer.
Yeah, you'd have to be lucky with your Konar.
But, like, you're not. Yeah. Chances are, like...
At some point, you're not going to have the points to skip one.
Well, like, you're just not going to get the right like, it's like, there's way too many variables.
Yeah.
It's getting something in the catacombs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if that happens, you're kind of screwed. But there's, like, so much... You can level up everything, like, decently fast. Like farming, you have the Hasidius, you can just like AFK plows and stuff like that. Mining, you have like blast mine. You can do like and you got like the noted runes or ores.
Yeah, rune crafting. You have the library at Arceus.
Yeah, and like that's for Magic too as well if you wanted.
Yeah.
You have all your combats you would do through the Shazian gang stuff, infiltration.
That's right. Yep.
Fishing, anything Piscarelli's construction. Well, you can make planks of the guild, and then you can build cranes.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much stuff you can do.
You can actually buy a house.
Yeah.
There's the real estate agent.
Yeah.
There.
There's a crazy amount of stuff you can do, and there's also a lot of teleports that you get in that area, and there's also quests, and there's new quests going to be coming. Like, there's so much like, cool stuff you could do, and it makes me really want to like try it because it just sounds fun, but it's like I don't know how I could enjoy not having a bank. But it's like one of those 50-50s where like I would play it, be like, this is so bad, I'm gonna restart as a normal Iron Man, or I would like love it a lot.
Yeah, watching these videos, I'm like starting to see the appeal of the Ultimate Iron Man now, because I'm like, oh, there's a lot of planning. It takes a lot of work because you can't just wing it.
Yeah,
because you need to plan exactly what your inventory is going to be, which I know that's my downfall if I ever made one, because I'm gonna get bored and I want to do this now, so drop everything I've been collecting. Mm-hmm. Or I also remember when this Ultimate Iron Man got PK'd, it was all over Reddit, but I had actually bumped into him and I took some screenshots, but he was like, I was talking with him and he said like, this actually isn't a bad thing. It's a huge load off my shoulders because there's so much I want to do this with account, but I was cornered because of like the things I had stocked up.
Yeah.
Because like now that I can start fresh, I can work on all the things that I haven't been able to work on because of all the herbs I've been collecting or all the seeds or whatever it is.
Like, it's kind of hard to get 99 mining and then drop that pickaxe that you spent so long getting.
Yeah.
Or like, even though you have the mining level, you're still like, this is like progress right here. You know what I mean? Like, you might like have to camp, Krill, like the Zambi boss, for hours to get a Hasta, and then at some point you won't need it, and you're like, I have to just like elk like 80 hours of my life right here. You know, like that would suck so much.
I saw a post of an Ultimate Iron Man this week getting 99 mining, and instantly elked it. Yeah, you saw that too.
That's where I brought like the like that idea from.
And there was just, you could tell that they were more happy to get rid of the pickaxe than they were to get 99 mining.
Yeah, he was spamming one, holding space.
Yeah.
Would you like to, yeah, I don't want this anymore. Get this out of here.
It's just funny to see that these Ultimate Iron Man series are like, to me, I'm seeing a lot of people as well getting kind of like, maybe I'm going to make an Ultimate Iron Man. It looks kind of fun. Yeah. So it's kind of cool to kind of reviving this game mode, and there's tons of potential for like if other people want to do these series as well, right? Like I know when we did our challenges, we used to talk about how much there is actually to do in the wilderness, because that's what one of our challenges were as an Iron. If you don't know, this is from the archives, but when we first started, we both made an Iron Man. We'd set challenges each week that we have to do with X amount of hours we can play, because we were both busy working and school, so we couldn't just like, if we had no restrictions on time.
I mean, I had way more free time than you did.
Okay.
So I remember like we put like an hour limit, and like if we didn't, there was like, I could have just put in double the hours.
Well, it was like 5 hours I think we put.
Yeah.
But
and it made it a lot more fair, and like we had to plan stuff out.
Yeah.
Which was really fun.
And I mean, I do really want to bring these back. Hopefully when school finishes. We've talked about it a bunch about bringing it back, because a lot of people enjoyed it. It's just, it's hard when if you set the 5 hours and then suddenly, let's say I get all these assignments at school, I'm like, oh crap. Suddenly this Iron Man thing becomes another assignment on its own. So you got to have the time for it. But
I still remember we had something to do in the wilderness. I don't know what it was, but I was killing black demons because I wanted rune pieces for like another. Because the thing is that depending on how well you did in some challenges, you could just be fucked for another challenge. Because
that was the fun of it. Like you had to plan ahead too.
Like there was some challenges where like one of us had a clear advantage over the other, and then sometimes you're like. I still remember it was like who had the highest valued item.
Yeah, the one single highest value.
And
item.
I was like, I'm going to just kill fire giants for a rune scimitar or something. Or like maybe it was black demons to get like a rune chain body, thinking, well, later on if we ever like I have a rune chain body then.
That
right?
and you're getting your combat skills up.
And then I got like something nice. I don't know, I was like, I win. I totally won this. And then you fucking did clues and got like a wizard G or something.
Yeah, wizard
and
G
I was just
top,
like,
250K.
God damn it.
But then that's screwing me in the future because now I've like wasting time just running around the map.
Yeah, I guess.
So it's like things like that, which was pretty cool and would love to bring it up. But anyways, while we were doing it, we had to do one that was only in the wilderness. I remember stumbling across like a furnace and anvils in the wilderness, being like, wow, there's so much you could do. Like you can make an Iron Man only account in the wilderness, and there's a fair bit of content.
Yeah.
And
Even like getting mage capes and stuff.
yeah, you got the mage capes.
You get like Mage Arena 2.
Yeah. So it's
Go
pretty-
for like a wilderness pet. That's not the octopus. But even that, you can get Malediction, Odium Wards. There's like a lot of really neat PVM items.
Yeah, you get the rings, you get those, you're laughing.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about it, I really want to make that Iron Man, Ultimate Iron Man Zia. I'm like, this would actually be so fun.
That's what happens to me. It's nighttime and I'm like doing Wintertodt and I'm watching the series and I'm just like, I want to make one of these accounts. It looks fun. I love the idea of like your best in slot helmet could just be a rune full helmet or something, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. So yeah, it's kind of cool. It's yeah, I don't know. Yeah, tons of potential of a little series there. Mm-hmm. If you guys have any series you've thought of, that would be cool. Maybe you don't have enough time though. Love to hear what your suggestions. I know you could. I've heard things like a desert only account, but
Dehydrated.
the end game would come fast.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned they wanted to do a city only account, which is cool. Again, probably would get boring kind of fast. A lot of thieving.
Varrock would probably have to be the city.
Yeah.
And then your end game boss would be killing Bryophyta or whatever.
Yeah,
You go in the sewers from there. I was say you could do Slayer, but you'd have to like go in the sewers, go through the agility thing. I'm like, how you gonna do agility?
True.
You have to lamp agility to do the
lamp. There might be a fence. Yeah, if you like to experience.
But like you'd have to lamp until what is it, like 30 or something to do the Varrock course.
Yeah, maybe.
There are some quests you could do. Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, there's one.
Would the mining areas be considered Varrock? Like out, or you can't leave the walls?
Well, there is a fence. Well, there's a fence that kind of blocks off Varrock from, See, so I've been reading the RuneScape novels, and one thing that it does that I love about them is it changes your whole perspective of the landscape.
Varrock is a slum with a lot of goblins in the city. Like, what?
Well, it's
No, I'm just kidding.
with like Falador and going to Taverley. This is just one example. So and it's a 2-day hike to get there.
Okay.
Whereas in the game, 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
But it's cool how it paints that. So like even that fence line that's just south of Varrock, it kind of separates Lumbridge a bit.
Okay. Yeah. The one you can jump.
Yeah, that one. Like now when I'm like thinking of that, I can like picture it being like, oh, this is where like the farms would be for Varrock. The farms that would feed it, even though it's whatever. But it's pretty cool. And actually, before we move on to the news, a little funny thing happened at work yesterday. I was so I work at a children's play place, and we do these like private parties where it's like after hours, and it's super easy. I just have to prep it, and then they come in. I got to check everybody in, and then for like 2 hours, I sit there and wait and just let them do their thing.
Yep.
And then they leave, and I clean up afterwards. So there's like a solid couple hours where I'm just kind of sitting there, and bosses even said, great time to do homework and stuff. And so I was reading the RuneScape book, and some guy's like, oh, I didn't know RuneScape made the novels. And I was like, oh yeah, and they're pretty good too. He's like, oh man, I started playing again because of old school RuneScape mobile. And we started talking and stuff. And
Yeah.
we exchanged usernames. Well, I just gave him my username actually, but pretty crazy.
Yeah. Wilderness Podcast. You ever heard of it?
They're amazing.
Dude, hilarious stuff.
I get all of my information from him. And then he's listening. He's like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Something wrong with his head. Yeah, I guess let's move right on to the news.
Yeah, speaking of news. So yeah, this is the second change list or change log that they've listed in for Song of the Elves, I guess.
Yeah.
And so the first thing they mention is that they talk about the crystal shard drop rates. So at the gauntlet, it would be at maximum 50 shards per hour.
Okay.
So to like put it in perspective, the crystal armor, like the helmet, is 50, legs is 100, and the chest plate is 150. 300 total. You know, getting the shards will be a little bit of a pain. So they go and they mention how the shards interact with the armor, I guess. Crystal armor will degrade like other crystal equipment, but its stats won't degrade. I believe we mentioned that before.
Yeah, so I guess we don't have to imbue it, so perfect.
Yeah. But over time, the armor will degrade into an uncharged version, just like Barrows, and you'll be able to add more charges by using crystal shards, either charged or uncharged versions of the armor. Each shard will provide 100 charges, and each piece can hold 5,000 in total, but each freshly made piece starts off with 2,500 charges. And so as you take hits, one hit will remove one charge.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
They just kind of defined it. So with crystal tools, a little minor note they make with defining the Zolcano, or Zolcano.
Like Zolcano.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Yeah. The experience. So the experience per hour from fighting them should be no more than 1,000 in smithing rune crafting, and no more than 5,000 mining. So you get like next to no experience doing this.
That's not per hour.
Yep.
What? Wait, what?
The experience per hour. So you're not
1,000 mining.
Yep, this boss they said though it is not meant to be an alternative training method. It is for a way for like people to skill and PVM. Like to PVM via a skill, but not to like level that skill.
Well, now it's got to have good loot then.
Yeah.
Because like nobody just does those. That's why there's only one person who killed Galvek 15 times. Nobody does something because I just want to do PVM. I don't care about the rewards.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah.
I feel like it should be a little bit more. I don't think it should be competitive with the other ones, but you should still be able to do it. And like you spend 10 hours doing it and you're like, oh, I got a chunk of mine, but like got some mining experience. But now it's like, yeah, I've got like a percentage of 1%. Or a fraction of 1%.
But you should never be PVMing like bosses for experience. But sadly, there are some that give decent rates. Like in comparison to like what you could be doing at your levels, Barrows is not the worst magic experience.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, obviously there's way better methods, but you're making like $1 million an hour up to like depending on how efficient you are, like what kind of gear you got.
Mm-hmm.
But you should never like. I say this, but you gotta remember that Vorcast's a thing, and people will kill like a couple thousand and get like a 99 range. You know what I mean? But there's the odd bad example, but you should never like sit down and like, I'm gonna kill Bandos and I'm gonna get so much experience from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like Zolcano, whatever, shouldn't like I don't know. It's just like another way to boss. It's just like another take. That's just kind of how I think of it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, getting like even like because the way experience works when it comes to combat, like you should always be able to like get decent. Like if you're killing like, well, I mean, NMZ and mine is that stuff. Like if you're doing like Slayer and you're like killing fire giants, let's just say you're getting 30k an hour. It's not like that good of experience depending on what level you are.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you're getting like 30k an hour like rune crafting, like the max on like if you're like doing lava runes, it's like 75k.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so it's kind of hard to like, hey, I'm getting like 10k an hour, but I'm also making like mad bang from this.
Well, that's the problem
for a pet. I mean, like rune crafting is a bad example, but you know, you can like if I'm AFKing Redwoods, it's like 50-ish K I get because I'm playing like other games at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of like how skilling, like, you know, does that make sense?
I think so. I think like my problem with it being such low experience rates is that now it's got to be a decent moneymaker for it to be relevant content.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like if they had a bit better experience, now you don't need to worry about the drop table as much. But the drop table is going to come out. There's a good chance that there's going to be something wrong with it. It's like, what if it comes out and it's
there's going
to
be a weird method that nets you a lot of experience that someone's going to find out.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, like I really hope it's not Vorkath for like a crazy moneymaker for someone who's never PVM'd. Like I hope it's like I don't want it to be like a couple mil an hour and it just be easy. It's like just mine. Just get your mining, smithing, and runecrafting up.
But at the same time, though, this is coming from the new what is it, master level quest?
Yeah.
So we're assuming it's going to be a pretty damn hard one.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have like a minimum of 70, right? Yep. For like at least mining and stuff because of the requirements, which we'll talk about like in a quick minute. But yeah, the experience is extremely low, which kind of segues us to like some of the loot you'll be getting, right?
Sure.
So some of the loot would be like these new crystal skilling things, like the crystal pickaxe, axe, and harpoon. And we mentioned it, but you would kind of combine it with this dragon alternative.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would make this, and like they're like pretty good, right? Like they're like the crystal pickaxe is a 1 in 4 chance to mine an ore 1 tick faster than the rune pickaxe, and the dragon, it's up from 1 in 6 for a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
The crystal axe is 15% more efficient. Dragon's 10. Harpoon is 30% faster. Dragon variant is 20. Like these are like significant buffs to these tools, which means these tools will be like worth a decent amount, at least like the pickaxe and the axe. But yeah, I guess we'll mention how you charge them. So they also mention how the charges work. It's the same thing where like when you first make it, it's 10,000 charges, but you can afterwards bring it up to 20,000, and each shard provides 100 charges. Each resource you get, you lose 1 charge. So yeah, so that pretty much covers the second set of changes that they made.
Since we're on the topic, though, I guess we can mention what the requirements are.
Yep.
Because they did drop it on us this week. So there's 3 quests you'll need. Morning's End Part 2.
Ooh.
Making History. And Fairy Tale Part 2, Cure a Queen.
Yeah, not bad. For all those people that have that quest half done.
Yeah.
Time
to finish it off.
Yeah. And then Morning's End Part 2. Memes, agility memes.
Yeah, she's a tough one.
I didn't find that quest that bad. Everyone hated it.
We'll follow a guide, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Because, I was doing that quest following a guide, and I was just thinking, like, could you imagine being the first person to figure it out? Because it's a huge puzzle.
Yeah.
Of, like,
I mean, following for, like, 10 minutes on those stupid obstacle course stuff, that's annoying, but whatever. But anyways.
It is. So for the skills you'll need, of course, 70 agility, 70 construction, 70 farming, 70 herb lore, 70 hunter, 70 mining, 70 smithing, 70 wood cutting. I could have made it so much easier for myself if I just said all these are 70, but...
Yeah. Weird that they chose 70. I was expecting 75 to keep the meme live where everything that's power creep now.
Oh, yeah.
We gotta cap off at 75. Kind of weird that it's all 70, but...
It should be a fun quest, though. I'm excited to see.
Yeah. So then, I guess, now it's quality of life and Chambers of Xeric changes. So, starting off, the prayer skill guide has been updated to reflect it passing through. The Dragon Defender has been changed to be more red. And there's now a Hespori growth indicator outside of the cave. So if you're not on Runelight, you actually know when it's ready.
Perfect.
And then the Expert Mining Gloves, they also work when mining amethyst. Venezuelan and gold farmers are joyfully
loving it,
dancing. I don't know when you would dance in a not in like a depressed dancing. Yeah, and then Chambers of Xeric. So they changed some stuff. They looked at some stats, scaling, all that good stuff. The biggest thing, pretty much, that they did was they really changed how Ice Demon works. And, like, instantly noticeable by a disgusting amount. I kind of think they should at least tune it down a little bit.
Okay.
Ice Demon was really annoying because they're like, you could either drop all your kindling. Like the first, last week, maybe they made some changes where when you add kindling to these braziers and you light it, you can keep adding it and it doesn't like slow you down. Because before, when you got to this room, you had to go backtrack, make a chest, bank everything, have 25, put it in. Mm-hmm. Because if you just dropped it, 25 in front, you wouldn't, 25 each or whatever, you wouldn't be able to, you need more, which is really annoying. And then so they changed it, and okay, that's fine. But for these changes, they kind of went really overboard, and so they made it so that the trees that you cut to get the kindling are less likely to fall. That's okay. That's nice. But the players receive more wood than before when you successfully chop trees based on wood cutting. So before, you get 1. Now you get 1 to 8.
Oh.
So there's times where I have half an inventory or 10 spots, and you're chop, chop, chop. Just go. And now what people do is they bring they pick up the axe and the kindling, drop all their potions, and then you just sit there, get instant full inventories, and you just run it nonstop. And it makes it's one of the fastest rooms now, which is super weird. I guess most people like it, but I think they really just went a bit too far with it.
Yeah,
where the boss fight isn't hard, but now it just happens really fast. And if you're new, it was there was set phases to the room where at one point, okay, get the chest, get all your stuff in there, get enough kindling, go light it. Now you have time. You're a new player. You can get the gear that you need because you're gonna need to use your BGS or Warhammer to hopefully lower its defense. Mm-hmm. And then, but you also need your switch into range gear and the right potions. You gotta remember to bring your potions. And then also gear for the next couple rooms, unless you want to bank again afterwards. But there was you had time while he's de-thawing to go and get all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're okay. And you kind of know what to expect to a certain extent. Now it's you're running. You don't know how much kindling you need because you're new to raids. Holy shit, he's already de-thawed. Let me pick up my potions. Now he's hitting me. Oh, my prayer up. He's doing so much damage. Oh my god, I'm chugging. You know what I mean? It kind of makes it more... It's
more frantic.
Yeah. That being said, though, they did lower his defense, and the magic defense has been changed, making it overall weaker to spells, and they added an additional fire spell thing. So, beforehand, you could kind of meme and bring, a Staff of the Dead and Zamorak Flames, and just kind of as a joke, or, I don't know if people actually did it in challenge modes, but you would just use Zami Flames, and then you could, but no one ever did it. But it's quote-unquote fastest way to do it. Typically, you would just use your BGS Warhammer, and then Blowpipe or T-Bow it.
Of course.
But now, if you know you have an Ice Demon, you might want to consider someone in your party bringing the best fire spells.
Yeah, it could make you blast right through it, right? That was their original intent, was people to be using fire spells on him, right? That's why his defense is so high.
Yeah, but his magic defense was also really high too.
Yeah, but he had that weakness to fire spells.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it's the whole room pouch issue with the spells. But now you can 3-shot the boss.
Really?
Yeah, I've hit 64s, not even bringing the best gear possible.
Wow. That's cool. Now someone's going to be hey, who has waters and who has fires?
Well, it's now who has combo runes. And what I do is I bring, just because it was whatever I had in my bank, but I bring Wrath, I bring Steam, and then I bring Airs, I believe.
Okay.
If that's the right thing, yeah.
Sounds right.
And then you just fire surge it, and then if I have to do water strikes or water surges, just hope I didn't recently drink a brew because I'm gonna have to restore up to get someone out. You can actually 3-shot this boss And it's just like, oh, he's up. Boom. Boom.
And he's
boom,
down.
And on to the next room. Like, it's really fast. Which I guess is nice if you like going for those low times, but it just kind of worries me with, like, stuff like a lot of the items you can get through, like, the Dragon Hunter Lance has made raids as a whole way easier. The Tecton nerfs have made Tecton way easier, and it's made to the point now where an Elder Maul isn't really that you don't want to bring it.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing solos. But even then, like, Elder Maul was like 60 mil at one point, and its only use really was like revs and raids.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about that last episode, but now it's 17 mil because, well, the Hunter Lance can crush. It's faster. It's got lower defense, so like the crush bonus doesn't really matter. And the Lance you can also use on Vasa, and it's also like amazing on Olm Hand, the melee hand. So you have one item kind of replacing 3 or 4. Like, you don't need a stab, you don't need a crush, you don't need a whip. You get your Hunter Lance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of it's kind of weird, but
So that's just a progression as new items come into the game, new
but then
weapons.
they're also making like random every room a lot easier.
Yeah, that's true.
The skilling rooms are like quicker and all that stuff. But
And they did say they have more to come throughout March.
see, what I was thinking was like, add a goddamn lockpick drop. You know, it's a special lockpick that you can only keep in raids, but add a lockpick drop to Thieving Room. And I'm like, we're good. You know? Because if you bring a lockpick in, you can, like, open the chest way faster. But, like, they're going really hard at, like, making this a lot easier.
I can see why they did it to Ice Demon. I can see why they did it to Tecton. I mean, another alternative would be to let them offer more points.
Well, like, Tecton gives good points, and, like, you want to do Tecton anyways because he drops overloads.
Yeah.
And depending on the layout, you're like, nice, I can overload, and now I have crazy boosted stats the rest of the raid, and you just power through the whole raid. I understand Tecton in a bubble, in like a vacuum, the nerf to it, because, like, if you hit your specs, the boss is easy and it's fast. If you don't, it's slow and awful.
Yeah. It's RNG, and like having a boss, like your performance versus that boss being based on RNG.
Well, it's not based on RNG though, like, because like he does a lot of damage, but if you can like have a 6-tick weapon and you can like flinch him, like that takes a lot of the damage you're gonna take out of it. You can take 0 damage from Tecton.
Yeah, but like I said, like you said, the method was Dragon Warhammer. You're in a group, especially, right?
Yeah, of course.
You bring it, and then
mean,
if nobody hits it, then it's like wait for your spec to come back up. That's basically it.
Not really. You just do the boss fight. Like,
No, you do it, but it's you're waiting for the spec to come back up because that's going to lower its defense even more, which will allow you to actually kill it faster.
Like no matter what, the Warhammer will reduce its defense. You don't have to hit on Tecton specific. It's like a special thing.
Are you sure? Yeah.
Just on Tecton, yeah, it's a special thing. Because of like, well, when it first came out, that was kind of like, well, no one hit specs. Let's just leave this room now. We had them super early on, like that. Like I totally agree that was the thing, but the fact that Zero's still like, it's kind of like they're like buffs or nerfs, but hey, look at it, stack up quickly. But then outside of just Chambers of Xerxes, all the new items, like it's like everything's noticeably easier and quicker.
So I was just looking it up with the Dragon Warhammer. Originally, it does 30% reduction to your defense. With Tecton, if it misses, it'll still reduce it by 5%. So it's something, but still, it's a lot lower than.
Yeah, of course, but it's still better than nothing. But yeah, like with all the new items, all these like changes, they're kind of like, I'm worried that there's more to come. You know what I mean?
Well, they've already said in the dev blog here that March they're gonna have some more.
Yeah, and like that worries me because my expectations were, because this is supposed to be like Dungeoneering Light, right? And
sort of,
it was like their like new take on Dungeoneering, but also PVM raid stuff. Like,
yeah,
like they wanted it to fill or like satiate some of that Dungeoneering, and they realized it never would, and that's why the Gauntlet is like another variation for like another way to satiate that we want Dungeoneering and RuneScape.
Yeah,
no, we don't.
It should be more closer to Dungeoneering than raiding is.
And I think they were kind of looking at the things that, like, it's my personal opinion, but like they should have made it like more focus on like the skilling rooms to make it more quality of life instead of straight up like easier.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I did like only solo noob Dungeoneering in RS like 3, like 2011 Scape. I don't even know what you'd call it. I was definitely not a Dungeoneer. Like, you can look at my stats in RS3. Most of it is from entering dungeon rooms. Like, I just was like, what is this? Cool. Oh, I can't do this room? That sucks. They have their reasons, though. They probably through challenge mode, and they even said they consulted, like, before, like, higher end, like, people that are more knowledgeable to raid than on raids than I am.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're right, and these are, like, better for, like, raids as a whole. But only time will tell, and we'll see the next updates to come. That being said, Clan Wars and Pest Control no longer reset the player's auto-cast spell when they leave.
Cool.
Yep. Items which are never protected on death, such as Bounty Hunter emblems, will now always be lost on death when noted. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't.
So, there was a clever money-making strategy that was supposed to be really risky, but you could do it pretty safely. So you know how Rev Caves drop those hot ancient statuettes?
Yes.
That range between what, like 100k, like 16 mil or whatever?
Yep.
So they're supposed to always be lost on death, except if they're noted.
Then they're not lost ever?
Just like 3. So you can bring... Okay. And so the main thing is that they hold a high value because if you guys have never run Rev Caves, monsters in the wilderness, pretty like they're from like high 30s to like 29, and they're in a cave. It's like it's like a hot PVM versus PvPer spot. You know, a lot of action goes on, but these things hold so much value because on the Bounty Hunter world, like in the northwest side of that cave, there's a guy you can give these like statuettes, and he gives you straight up gold.
Yep.
So, I don't want to do that. So, when I get one, I just go sell in the GE. I take like a 20, 30k loss, right?
Sure, yeah.
But obviously, if it's a 16 mil, percentage-wise, I'll lose 100k. I don't care. It's pretty much 16 mil. What people did is they would buy them for 100k less. And then the idea was you would get as many as you could, get your like best tank gear, scout, and then run and quickly, because you can sell them noted.
Yep.
And then you have a huge cash stack, run, seed pod, glory, you ring of wealth through Grand Exchange at 30, get out, you know what I mean? Like it's like a very risky, like go quickly, I want to cash out.
And it gives a chance for clans and groups to lock down a world.
I mean, guy got PK'd for like over a bill, like 1.5 bill in statues by, I don't even know what the clan was called.
One of the clans. But
anyways, what people were doing was they were buying 3 of the 16 mils noted, and they're going to be protected on death, running there. Oh, it's safe? Cash out and run. And it turns like a 3-4 minute of sketchiness to like 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be insanely unlucky in those, like, not even, like, 10 seconds, because you're, like, you just run, you don't have to go through, like, the Revenant area, you go through, like, the Slayer, like, where the lesser demons are greater.
Yeah, there's a few rooms where it's, like, dragons and demons.
Yeah, you would go through the less popular area to, like, teleport out, obviously.
Yep.
And no one really camps that, because, like, yeah. But people were doing that, and, like, if you're making 300k a pop, and you just put in a buy overnight, and you have, like, it's a high investment, but I'm using, like, the extremes here. You buy a couple of, like, the 1 mils, right? Make, like, 50k a pop on them or something, right? Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
You could just sit there, and you could be making, like, so much money. Literally, level 3s could do it. You're not good because you have 10 HP, but, like, no requirements. I mean, Gold Farmers probably abuse this for a really long time. I don't know. Who knows? But a YouTuber discovered it. That's the only reason why I know, because I was watching his video.
Wow.
Forget what his name is. I really wish I knew what it was. But you could look up, like, The guy liquidates all of his accounts and just like makes money from that. That's how that's just to see like how much you can make, and he like discovers it.
Wow, it's interesting.
Or like showcases it at least. But a pretty big oversight from Jagex.
Yeah, a little bit, but I guess those things tend to happen. Side note, it just reminded me, but this happened to me this week, and I'm just shows how stupid I could be. I wanted to, so with the wilderness emblems, you can exchange those in for points where you can buy things, right?
Yep.
And one of them is recolorings of some staffs. It was like the steam staff and the lava staff, I believe.
Lava's the best because it looks like a paintbrush.
Yeah. And I was like, I keep my lava staff and my my mist staff, I think it was. I may as well get them upgraded. Looked on the wiki real quick, and I must have overlooked it, but I was like, oh, you can't buy it from the Grand Exchange. So I spent like 2 mil on emblems to go buy them. And then I must have typed it in RuneLite as I was running there or something. I can't remember why, but it showed like 100 or 70K or something. I was like,
yeah,
70K. Go to the Grand Exchange, type them in. Son of a bitch, they're right there.
Yeah.
So then I bought them for 140K. Now I have like a lot of wilderness points or whatever you want to call them.
Honestly, get into revs. Revs are stupid money, and just all your points, looting bags.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
what I've been doing is buying loot. So now I have unlimited looting bags. So if you guys need one, let me know.
I mean, you could try and salvage your money back by buying like rune plate or rune arrows and stuff like that.
That's fine. Now I'd never have to worry about looting bags again. I never have to go to 30 wilderness where those rats are.
Yeah,
spending 10 minutes killing them.
Yeah, you could be like those people that put like 100,000 charges in like a Ring of Suffering. Like, you know what I mean? It's like ridiculous. Now I never have to worry about this. This is overkill, but I never have to worry about it. It's like that with looting bags.
Yeah, that just reminded me of that.
Yeah, Konar will no longer assign black, red, blue, or green dragons within the current catacombs if players are under level 100 combat.
I remember hearing people complain about that.
Imagine being level 80, you have to kill brutal black dragons. You're going like...
Well, that one you'd be safe because there's a Slayer level tied to it.
Okay, yeah. But like
blue
dragons, you're like killing one per inventory. You know what I mean?
You get like the money from blue dragons versus black dragons is like huge difference.
Yeah.
One's amazing money, one's complete crap.
Yep. Konar will no longer assign fire giants in the Waterfall dungeon if you haven't completed Waterfall quest.
All right.
Dude, this is huge for my Ultimate Iron Man that we're going to pretend I'm playing right now. I need a good name for him. I have
what area is he locked down to?
Zia.
Zealetics?
No. It's got to be... I got a couple names I could use. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It'd be nice and good memes. I mean, I have Wild Podcast.
Really? Why?
On a pier.
On a pier. Yeah. Gotta get that advertising out there.
Yeah. When I say sit, I can say sit, comma, and listen to the Wild Podcast.
It's a lot to type out.
Yeah.
You have to teleport back to Lumbridge to meet him there?
Yeah. Give him a chair. Give him a crude oak chair, and while I give him the whole rundown.
Use a chair.
audibletrial.com/1. Like, give him.
Get a free month.
Yeah. But yeah, there was some walls in Chambers of Zarek that were like clipping, like the rooms weren't cut properly. They fixed that. The Vanguard used to reset in a really weird way sometimes, and they fixed that, and that's really nice. That's kind of what I thought when they meant quality of life, like things to make it quality. But anyways, they had some issues with mobile users who had connection issues, and you wouldn't be able to log in because your username wasn't recognized. I had that issue, and I was like at work trying to log in, and I had really bad connection. It just wasn't working. I was going crazy. But oak trees now have their foliage at the farming guild. You can't hurt other players by having bloated swamp toads near them.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's a big old buff to bots. And typos. They took away some AoE sounds from the Hydra Pet. The weight of the wreath. I believe it's a holiday item. I think. was 5 kilograms.
Okay.
It's just leaves. It's 5 kilograms for some reason.
Some heavy leaves.
Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
There's one thing there that I need to check.
Actually, I will say this quickly. The rune pouch is now given first when withdrawing from gravestones from like Vorkath, Hydra, Zulrah.
So that's the gravestone.
Yeah. Is that what you're going to check right now?
I was just about to check that on my account because I read gravestones and I was like, did this slip in and I just never noticed it? Like, when you die to a monster, do you drop a gravestone now?
Mm-mm. No. Hypothetically, let's just say in an alternate universe where I'm AFKing Zulrah and I died, I was like, I got my rune pouch back. Because it's annoying sometimes, like, there's like 4 spaces that get taken up from that gravestone.
Yeah.
From that collection box. And it's like your triple runes and your rune pouch. So it's 4 total. Mm-hmm. And you kind of want that out first so you can quickly put it in.
You want that and your armors.
Yeah.
You don't want your food.
Yeah.
Then you got to drop it.
Yeah. So yeah, they fixed that.
Okay, makes sense. Never mind then.
Yeah, I'm definitely not speaking from experience. It's just a friend told me that.
Like the
Dovey Das. Yeah.
Also, Premier Club ended the special.
Yep.
So if you're planning on getting gold membership or whatever it was, it's a little late for that.
Yep. The clue. 2. Week 2. They just have another clue.
Yeah, and it's similar to the first clue where it looks like almost like a hill ridge or a cliff ridge with an X, and then there's a bunch of
I keep thinking
numbers.
It's like a hammer and sickle at like a quick glance.
It does look like that.
Yeah.
The Soviets have infiltrated the game.
Yeah.
I believe there is a subreddit.
Back the clue?
Yeah, where if you want to, like, I'm not going to try to solve it, but it is kind of fun to watch these things develop, where all these people are, like, crunching numbers and trying to figure out what does it mean. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. I know for when I played Destiny, there was, like, one of the dungeons you did, there was a computer that had, like, some number sequence or whatever.
Yeah.
And people ended up looking at that and be like, what does that mean anything? Because Bungie, at one point or another, had been known to drop these little Easter eggs and these little hints in Halo and stuff like that. These weird little...
Remember Halo 2? The chimpanzees?
No.
Like 2D, like an animated 2D thing. Forget what map it is, but there's like a lot of those weird sniper dudes. You know what I mean when I say that? Kind of like raptors with the...
it's been so long, I can't remember.
The energy snipers.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
you're kind of like going through a valley and they're like high up on the ridge. Anyways, you can get up there and then there's like these monkeys. Like it was like a source, like, you know, TF2 or like CS source or something spray.
Okay.
Kind of like a spray on the one part. And they're like, I think they're monkeys or something. Just like Bungie likes to do like those cool little
that you stumble
Easter
upon,
eggs.
and so Bungie also made. Destiny, and I'm talking about Destiny 1. So the same thing happened. There was a computer screen with these numbers. People ended up looking into it, figuring it out, and they realized that it was linked to a gun that wasn't out yet. And it was called like, what was it called? Like the sleeper cell? I don't remember what it's called, but it had no regrets. Anyways, point being, they figured out that's what it was linked to, and pretty cool. And also in Destiny, there was a raid where there was a secret room that you could kind of stumble upon. Like, it was really out of the way. And all it was a basketball room. There was this energy ball you could pick up, and you could throw it, and there's a basketball hoop. And people spent hours trying to figure out what does this mean? Is there something we do, and maybe it'll open up something else? And I think it just turned out to be just a random room to screw around in.
Yeah.
And there were these little pillars, I think, that would light up. You could light them up in different sequences. But
it's like MapleStory when you're doing the PQ, the party quest.
Yeah.
And you're like 1 1 1 or 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 like 4 5 or 1 2 3 4 6.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You like brute force it like that.
And one guy jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I know Grand Theft Auto 5 has that. There was like, what was it? There was like this mountain with these like symbols on it, and people were trying to figure out what it meant. And there's a whole subreddit for that one too. But anyways, it's kind of what I'm trying to get at is it's fun to watch these people trying to solve these like in-game riddles. And
yeah. But for us, we get cool rewards.
Yeah, you sit back, let them do all the work, and then you get this cool black trimmed armor.
Yeah.
The subreddit is called Crack the Clue, so reddit.com/r/crack the clue.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess we move on to Deadman mode.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the thing right now. It's smart. They like have an I'm not gonna try to describe it, but it's actually pretty cool. So go check it out. They figured out where the second clue is already.
Nice.
So that ridge line I'm talking about turned out to be a road. It's in just south of Falador.
Okay. So it's going to be a free-to-play content?
I don't know.
Huh. Anywho, so the spring finals for Deadman mode, they begin 3 p.m. on Saturday 23rd of March, and the permadeath stage will be at 8 p.m. Saturday 30th.
So a week later. So yeah. Permadeath is basically the tournament.
Yeah.
That's the thing they host where you're going to watch it for a couple hours and the 1v1s happen.
Yep.
Always enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, last week of March pretty much. And then it's pretty much the same structure.
Yeah, if you don't know what Deadman mode is, maybe you just started playing when mobile came out. At this point, maybe you're more invested into the game with your account being a higher level and maybe never checked out Deadman mode. It's this new game mode they came out with a couple years ago where you could PK anybody anywhere, and if you killed someone, you got a key that gave you access to their banked items.
It was kind of like the early days of RuneScape, except everyone was an Ultimate Iron Man.
Yeah, yeah.
That blows my mind. That when we like do those blast the past type things.
Yeah.
I still can't wrap my head around like.
Well, you look at people complaining about the wilderness now, and like, I got PK doing this, and these motherfuckers, like,
yeah,
you're not a true RuneScape player, because when I played the game, you could PK anyone anywhere, and there wasn't even any banks. And you couldn't run away. Somebody attacked you, you're in the fight. So yeah, anyways, that's what Deadman mode is, but you could also gain accelerated experience. It's like 10 times experience rates, so you level up fast, but when you die, you also lose some of that experience. That's basically it in a nutshell. There's 2 separate modes. There's regular Deadman mode, which is basically dead. And then there's seasonal, which is what gets more attention. And they have, 4 times a year. The top 2,000 total levels get to go on to the finals, which means you have 1 week to start from scratch, do it all over again. And then at the end of that week, you'll be doing a tournament. And the last person alive wins...
a victory royale, a chicken dinner.
Exactly. It's actually closer to $32,000. Well, first place gets a chunk of that.
Yeah. So some changes is that players will no longer be able to create Ring of Suffering.
Okay.
That's huge.
Yeah, I know that was some people's strategies right out the gate.
Tormented Demons. Get a Ring of Suffering. Best Tank Ring. Chargers some recoils.
Yep.
OP. And the following are changes from the previous final that will still apply. So no statties for Vesta armor, because Deadman mode has special gear.
As of recent.
Yeah. Dragon limbs are 4 times more common to drop from Rune Dragons. Items that are manually dropped by players cannot be picked up or traded whilst they are in the final arenas.
Okay.
Healing supplies will not be dropped on death in arenas. A slow-ticking fog will begin to chip away at players' health in order to prevent intentional stalling.
So is that right off the bat?
I don't know if it's right off the bat. I think there's a timer.
Yeah, so nothing's changed then, right? Because they dropped it off before. That's why I'm wondering. The fact that they're writing this in this dev blog makes me wonder if the fog's going to hit you as soon as the fight starts.
Yeah, they don't really specify it. But, yeah, once only one player remains in the arena, they will automatically be teleported to the next bracket. And then you loot your opponent. You got a short time. Players who are successful at progressing beyond the first bracket have their inventory wiped of supplies of like food and potions, and they get a new set, all that good stuff. So the summer season changed a lot of key information. So right after the finals on the 30th, that's when the summer season begins.
Yeah, and if you are interested in playing it, from what I hear, that's when the most fun is when it starts, because everyone's level 3 and you see tons of players running agility courses, or they're thieving, or rushing the stronghold of security.
Yeah. And then it runs pretty much all of April, ends on 2nd of May. So it's like a month of gameplay. But yeah, they added more potions to Bounty Hunter store. So there are super combats, which are 30,000 points, extended anti-fires 5,000, Zami Brews 25k, magic 8k, antidote plus 3k points.
Cool.
Yep. In a weekly basis, different NPCs will have double drops for their uniques. Revenants is the first week, second is Barrows, third is Godward's bosses, the fourth is the Wildy bosses.
Cool.
And then players will all unlock the following on set days. So after the first week, everyone gets all the quests completed, but you don't get the rewards. But, you know, you don't get, like, the experience rewards, I should say.
Yeah, those aren't accelerated. They're just the base amount.
Yeah, you wouldn't get them on... Like, it's not like... You can get the quests done earlier, and you get the rewards, and you just get them done faster. Yeah, it's not like you would log in on day 8, and you just like get EXP drops for days for all the quests being done. But yeah, Barrows will be unlocked, so that's when the Barrow gears will come. And then new players entering the game on that after the first week get a 6-hour immunity.
Yeah, and really, if you don't have the time, because people are grinding hard. So on day 1, if you're not able to sit down and play it pretty intensely for that week, sometimes you're better off just waiting for that first week to pass so you get that 6-hour timer.
I don't know. I might disagree with that.
Well, it depends on how much time you have. If you can only crack away like an hour here and there a day.
Well, if you're really experienced at Deadman mode, and you know exactly how to very efficiently spend those 6 hours, keep in mind, after that 7th hour, people have a week of, like, their stats are done. You know?
Yeah.
So unless you catch up to them in that 6-hour period, if you're like an average player, though, I guess it depends. You could plan out, like, I have all of Friday night, and then you just, like, wait, and then you just spend that Friday night doing Deadman mode. But yeah, anyways, after week 2, Ancient Magics comes out, so halfway through the season.
Which means you would automatically get it. Everyone's going to get Ancient Magics at the same time.
Yep.
So that's
and then
very cool. This one up here is interesting.
You can now swap in Deadman mode again.
Yeah, they've lifted the banhammer.
Yep. They will not provide any means to swap, which is weird because I think they should.
How, though? You didn't need a J-mod who that's his job.
What if you had something at the Grand Exchange that you would, like, cash in? You literally put gold in, and then by username, it would just, like, you could log in and extra, like, maybe it's engine work.
I mean, that would be engine works. Now they have to link the servers together, right?
Yeah, so the main reason is that big cash sync, and you can't abuse this to real world trade. Because at one point, and it's going to be huge this time, get your alts ready. Bond up your alts now, or not now, but get some extra bonds for your alts. And what people do, and what I kind of recommend is going to be the best money maker for like the first couple days, is day 1, you rush agility and do agility pyramid, and you exchange the tops for gold. And if you go there with like a group of like 9-10 buddies, and you get jumped by people, you guys can like kind of protect each other and just like fire strike them back or something.
And just run away.
And at one point, like last time I wanted to do this, but no one was really down, it was like a 10-to-1 ratio or a 1-to-10.
Yeah.
So for every mil in Deadman mode, you could get 10 mil in old school. I mean, you do it like, you'd get like a couple 100K and then you'd swap just like as fast as you can because that's when the rate's the craziest. You have these guys that are like max stakers that have just too much gold and they want to play Deadman, or they're like streamers that have just whatever donations. You can just make ridiculous amounts of money on your old school character by like having a good plan of like, this is how I'm going to make money ASAP.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you get those resources that are tedious to grind.
Yeah.
Because like, I know there's someone in our clan chat who was doing Deadman mode and they got into the finals. They made it to the top 2,000, and I was like, oh, you're going to be doing the tournament. And he's like, no, I just wanted to get to the finals because I can make so much money from swapping for that first week. And I was like, that's smart. Like, with no intention to do the tournament. It's
ridiculous. And the thing is that the people that are like middlemaning the swaps, like they don't. You can't. It's not like they make some money on both sides of the game.
Yeah, that's
when
why
you're
they do it.
swapping, and then a lot of them will real world trade, and depending on how much money you're swapping from old school, and like mainly the issue comes from old school to Deadman. If you're swapping like hundreds of mil, which people do, like one season, Raw made like a couple bill from they had like good methods of swapping on day one.
Wow.
But as collectively as a clan, but there have been people that swap from their old school account to their account on Deadman, and then they get banned because the people they're swapping with real world trade a lot, and then those accounts are flagged and banned, and then you get caught in the system.
Yeah.
So like,
it makes sense.
if Jagex is going to allow, like, straight up say, hey, yeah, go for it, like, because they can't prevent it. When they had the ban, people just still did it, and you know what I mean? The people that got away with it were like really getting, you know, they had the huge advantages, but I think they need to come up with a system, even like, I don't know how, I don't know if it's engine work, but to be able to transfer gold.
I'd imagine it would be some heavy engine work.
But then they can also control the rates, which would make it like, hey, if you put in 10 mil, you could get 1 mil put into the game. But like, it would kind of like, in a way, balance it. Does that make sense? Because it's accessible to everybody. Right now, it's accessible to super rich people that know the right person to swap with.
Yeah,
or the right
there's gonna
CCs that aren't going to scam or real world trade the profits and get caught.
That's just it. Your average Joe's, good chance they might get scammed.
Yeah.
Because they're going to find the first CC. And how do you fact check that these are... You can't go on Yelp or Google reviews to see what the reviews are.
I know if Zulu swap is a thing. That's the only one I can think of. And Zulu's like a pretty big person in the community.
Yeah. So
but like,
if you are swapping, even if it's to RS3, like, just be careful.
Yeah, and if you get scammed, Jagex says that sucks. Like, they're not going to do anything about it if you get like screwed over. That might extend to bans too. But like, do you think they should publicly announce like, yeah, go for it, go swap?
I think so, only because the people that are swapping the most, as you said, they were still swapping.
Yeah.
Whereas this way now, your average person is going to be like, oh, I can swap, and I got 100 mil from staking, and I want to get into Deadman mode. Screw it, I'm going to throw that in there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I hope they can be the middleman instead of just the money moving from one person to another, and then, like, someone having a farm of, like, agility pyramid slaves.
Yeah.
They could straight up just remove gold from old school, as opposed to just being given to someone else, and that person sells it or gives it to someone else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's that would be ideal, right? If Jagex.
Yeah, I guess they've definitely looked into how to do it, and I guess they just can't. They will. So during the final hour, they do have like a little Twitch stream. It's nice and fun to watch, but they also bring some people, like some streamers and whatnot, to the front, like to the stage, and you can like see some like live, like the streamers will be on stage live, kind of streaming.
It gives you a chance if you're going there yourself to watch it in person, or maybe you're just watching on Twitch. You can kind of vote, like choose who you want to win, and get upset when they don't.
Yep. But this year they have 6 people on stage instead of 4, and it's a different cast besides, you know, MMORPG and skill specs, which are like pretty much always there. Manked will be there, and he's like he won one on stage, actually.
Yeah, he did. I think or maybe he won a PvP tournament.
Yeah, he won something on stage.
Yeah, a couple of them, I think.
They have Fool's Justice, so an experienced clanner. Solo Mission, who's a YouTuber. I actually want to say it might have been Solo Mission who had the video on the relics being noted.
Oh, interesting.
I believe that was his channel. And then someone named Psych, who I don't know. Yep, it was Solo Mission.
Yeah, it was, okay.
The whole noted ancient statuette thing, that was from Solo Mission. He does, like, I really do like his content. Definitely finds, like, he's like one of those YouTubers that, like, has unique videos. It's not like your PvP YouTuber going, like, I'm going to smite, I spec him, I smited him, AGS, oh my god.
I killed him, now I'm excited.
Yeah,
here's my reaction.
Here's my clicking.
Now
let's price check the loot.
Yeah. Insert a "Let's go, boys."
Yeah.
Yes, boys.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
Why does that shit drive me mad? I don't know what it is, but when I watch a video and I'm like, this guy does it too? What's with all these? Let's go, boys.
Yeah, it's all live commentary because that's so easy to do. But Solo Mission doesn't do that. Don't worry. He's got some really cool, like, unique videos. I don't know who Syke is, so I can't really tell you guys to watch him. I don't know what he does. Is it PK? Don't be PKing. It is.
He's a PKer, but he's got 7.2k subscribers, so go check him out.
Yeah. There are, like, some ridiculously good, Bounty Hunter and PvP World PKers that, like, don't have a viewership.
Wait, his last video was 4 months ago. Where did this guy come from?
Do you think, like, Bodhi dropped out last minute and they just tweeted, who wants to be on stage? And, like, the first guy was like, me. Come.
All right, Dills, you don't even play Dead Man mode. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
I've been really busy with school this week.
It's just like we don't need to hear the excuses. Just this doesn't work.
You've been doing Winter Todd and like 2 Hydra kills a week.
You got 300k experience in RuneCraft. Like, what are you? Well, it's kind of you guys. Maybe I can use Bodhi's account if he's not going to be here. Yeah. It's just I mean, it's not really account. It kind of is, but
Final hour, you've literally just done Winter Todd RuneCraft. And you're like.
On Pyromancers?
Honestly, Jagex, I thought I was on the normal world when I was doing this.
I thought I figured a new experience way, like a new way to get experience.
Yeah.
And
I'm on stage for some reason, and we're just recording an episode, you're just like idling. Dills AFK'd out of the Dead Man final. He was in final bracket. He's level 40. How did he do that? And he just doesn't care.
And next up, we got Lore and.
But yeah, that is the Dead Man mode stuff.
We got Syke and then, skill specs.
Yeah. And we know who Skill Specs is. He's a guy who runs a gold selling site. Fun fact. Or his girlfriend does.
There was that scandal.
Well, it's still ongoing.
There's a scandal behind everything in this game.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you can crack the clue, look back, Mod Jed start. It was his idea.
Yeah.
There's always something.
And actually, if you're new to the podcast and all that stuff, to Dead Man, every season there's a big scandal or something controversial.
Yeah, there is. There's always a problem. There is, in some way or another, there is an issue. Although I think the last one there wasn't an actual issue.
Yeah, but there's DDoSing, there's servers going down, kicking a lot of people out of the game.
Or maybe it's a poor organization where they make you funnel in through one tiny tile, and boom, you got killed.
And there's a clan that knew it before everyone, and they were all there, and they won extremely easily. And the way you entered the room, it was you click to enter, so you would get stacked out by 100 people when you couldn't do anything.
The funniest little roll of events was, I think it was the first one where the winner was able to tick eat. The gas, and it came down to who could tick eat the gas the most. So then the next tournament, they ramped up the damage of it, so when the gas kicked in, everyone got one hit. So it's just
And then they toned it down, and then someone was like, hey, I can get a bunch of noted food and just go to files and unnote it. And he won, but they're like, no, you didn't because you cheated. And then everyone's like, no, he actually won because it's Wooks, he's PVM god. And then Mod Ash just gave him money. It was here's your money.
I think someone actually killed him. A JMod logged in to kill him.
Yeah. Because he was just and this guy wins. Wait, there's someone left? Wooks, you asshole. You're wearing a pink skirt and a bronze helmet. You're in the middle of Remington eating food.
Down the road, we're going to have to go back and revisit all the old Dead Man mode controversies and go through them, because there's a bunch. But for now, we'll wait till see what the problem is with this season.
But we're on the top of controversies and conspiracies. This is arguably the biggest mess up. I'd probably say even worse than the Max Cash stack.
Why?
Because everyone was doing it, and it was just super obvious.
That and
it went on for way longer.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. They didn't shut the servers down right away.
Yeah.
Because they thought they could fix it, and then they're just you know what? Kick it down. Roll them back.
So, What happened right on the Thursday update? Well, there was a Twisted Bow spawn, an item spawn, so you could pick up Twisted Bows
Every minute
on every world near the farming guild, and it's like, for reference, the item sells for 1.2 bill.
Yep.
And so this led to a lot of people going to worlds and picking up their own Twisted Bows. Iron Man, everyone had a Twisted Bow. I saw screenshots of like people with like 6 T-bows.
Jeez.
It very quickly went down from 1.2 bill to 100 mil. Who's buying them? Who's buying, unless like not idiots, but people like having just like 100 mil buy just in case someone messed up selling one.
That, and I could see it like, oh, look at this. I'm going to buy a bunch of them. They're going to roll the servers back. Maybe they'll forget about mine because I didn't pick them up. I'm just buying them.
Let me hide in a looting bag. Let me hide up one at Zalra.
And I'm going to sell them.
Yeah, hide it. Maybe just keep it in the GE and not even pull it out. Bunch of random areas. Like literally try and stash some T-bows. Go to files and unnote them. Yeah. And so I don't know if they specify what caused it, but I'm pretty sure I know what happened. I guess I don't know if conspiracy theory music hasn't started.
Well, should we go through what they've written here before we go through some theories of what happened?
Okay, yeah, let's do that then.
Because they say here they noticed the bug at 11:30. At 1:35, they say the game has been turned off while we examine our options and work with various teams to decide what happens next. Rolling back the game is one option. More on this will be posted as the situation develops. Then 21 minutes later at 1:56, they say, we can confirm that the game will be rolled back. You can expect the game to be reset and come back online as it was just before the update at 11:30 this morning. Any changes to your account between then and now will be reverted. Sorry for the inconvenience. We estimate that it will take about 4 to 6 hours to complete the rollback.
Yep.
And then at 3:30 p.m., they say the game is now back online following the rollback. Thank you all for your patience with dealing with it. And this is Hardcore Iron Man. Please note that if you died after the update at 11:30, you will have been revived and you will keep your Hardcore Iron Man status. However, your stats will no longer be tracked on the high scores. This is due to the high score page recategorizing these accounts as regular Iron Man from this point on. As such, your skills will appear and continue to update on the regular Iron Man high scores. Players who abused the bug to buy bonds and redeem them for membership will have appropriate action taken against their account in the near future. The handful of players that were banned for abusing the bug will instead have their offense reduced to a temporary ban. They have received an inbox message regarding their ban. We would like to take this chance to say thank you again for all your continued support and feedback through this process. As always, this has gone to show your passion for the game. Cue the music. What are your thoughts? What happened to you?
Wait. Before I get into that, wait. There have been like a lot of permabans that I saw through the bonds, but the big thing is that people they would get on their alts they don't care about, like random accounts. You know, we all have like crap ton of accounts. Like you have what, like 8,
9, tons, and they all have
So like what you could have done is logged into every account you don't care about, and then pick up as many T-bows on them as possible, sell them, and then just real world trade on all of them.
Yeah.
And if you have like virtual machine or VMware, you could like do that on that, which you could set like a different IP, you know, not traceable to you. And there are a lot of people that did stuff like this, and then they would just real world trade on their other accounts, and like people were making thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Some dude got his main account banned for like 6,000 euros or something.
Ooh.
Doing this for real world trading. The main issue is that this went on for like 2 hours, and it went on to the point where people were like,
"Well,
this is it. Like, or the game is ruined." Like Archer rings were going for like over 9 mil, while this whole thing it tripled in price because and it went on for so long that like, and Jagex didn't really say anything for a while. But people were like, they're gonna fix it, but they're gonna not roll it. They're like what?
Mm-hmm.
Like people were convinced that like at one point that
they're gonna manually take the T-Bows off accounts.
Yeah,
similar to like how the peers who ruin their accounts, JMods would go and manually revert their defense levels.
Yeah, but they realized they couldn't, so they just rolled back the servers, which caused an Iron Man to temporarily lose like 60 hours of progress because he died before the servers reset. But he went and picked up his stuff. But the rollback doesn't go to when the update was released. It goes back to like
when they shut it off,
like when just before the update goes live. And so the Iron Man picked up his stuff, but the game rolled back to a point where his stuff was on the ground.
Quote, yeah.
But when he like logged back in, it was like, well, the time when, you know, like just the way that the server updates, he's like lost, but they went and restored it to him.
Yeah, that's an unlucky situation. But
after multiple days of like Reddit being like, Jagex, you have to fix this for this guy.
Yeah.
So what happened? I mean, I'm pretty sure this is the case, so we can't cue the conspiracy, but I'm pretty sure this is it. I believe it was Mod Ghost who designed Farming Guild. Was Ghost the artist that did Farming Guild?
Possible. You want me to look it up?
Yeah. Whoever did the actual mapping of it in like that you would see in game, not just like the modeling on their program.
Anyway, yeah, one of the JMods developed it.
Whoever does the like the actual map texturing and stuff like that, they had, because like Jagex does like a lot of like fun little streams that you can watch the artist like come up with the concept and like draw out a boss or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they had, I want to say it was Mod Ghost, maybe I'm wrong. Doesn't matter. They had one of the mods like putting in Farming Guild and like actually putting it into the map that would like go live eventually. And at one point in stream, like as a joke, he put a bunch of T-bows on the ground.
I think that was Mod West.
Mod West, okay. And I believe it was underground, where the Hespori is underground, but in that instance area, right? And then he's like, you know, look, we can just put a bunch of T-bows here, and let's not do that. And you see him go back and like delete it.
Yeah, he's like, that'd be a very bad idea if you could just pick up a T-bow spawn.
Yeah, and then with this update, we mentioned like very briefly, but there's a Hespori indicator, which shows you when he's actually spawned, which means that the cave the underground cave communicates with like the overworld, like within the game itself. Like,
so quickly though, in case you don't know, because a lot of there's like certain rooms where let's say you'll go downstairs, and you're not actually like in the game. What's really happening is you're teleporting, to another part of the map. So that happens with a bunch. It has to do with like the way the game engine is. They can only have like 2 or 3 stories. So
it's like if you're on like Photoshop or something, and then you can like layer images on top of each other, or painting a wall. And you just
they're like limited on how many they can actually layer.
And so from there, they will just have things like, you can like go into like some areas and just see like a random part of the game. Way off in like the far ends of the rendering distance. Just that's how it is. And so what I'm pretty sure what happened is this Hespori indicator like now communicates with that general instanced area, because there's a non-instance Hespori spot where you can go down and talk to people, but then you say, I want to fight Hespori, and then you go into an instanced like fight. And if you die, there's a collection box, but then after you're done killing him, get the loot or whatever, and then you can like leave the instance, plant him again, all that stuff, right? So there's multiple things that go on in that specific room, but they connected the instance room to the actual to the actual like live games. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because they need a way for you to know when he's ready to be killed. I guess they had like, it kind of looks like in the clip of like Mod West putting the T-bows as a joke. It looked like it was like near the Farming Guild where he placed it, just underground, where there's no actual land. And I'm assuming at like somehow maybe like that area, like that part was like I don't know, like somehow when they communicate to each other, the spawns, because there's like nowhere for it to be, Like one might have been forgotten, and it just came up. I don't know how exactly. I don't know enough about programming to know how, but if I just had to like guess, but that's how the TO got in that spot near the farming guild.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but like that's the only way. Like, how does a T-bow get there?
Yeah, it's weird because it's in a spot where there's no other items. So it's not like someone's inputting some item ID. Whoops, I missed a number and hit a different one, and now that's the T-bow.
But like when they insert items in the game to be drops, they don't put item ID. There's like a thing you actually click, and then you can like click, and then you can like, because RuneScape is just a bunch of like tiles, a bunch of squares, and you can click and like you could like hold left click and then just draw a penis of T-bows if you wanted to. Like you don't like insert here. Like the program that they use, like you can like literally paint the floor with items.
Yeah, okay.
And
it's interesting. Could you imagine like being let's say that is actually what happened?
Yeah.
Because we don't know. Jagex never came out and actually said what the issue.
They're not gonna like, we're shaming this mod.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Although with the RE Knights, when you were able to get max cash stacks, that bug,
yeah,
they did come out and kind of explain more what happened with it.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, not so much. But tons of games don't even come out and say like, "Hey, the bug's happening." They just shut the game down. And like, oh, game's gonna be off.
Sometimes like Blizzard will hot fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll like fix it live because they can't do that. Like we saw with the Inferno when Wooks found, or not Inferno, Lady Verzik and Theater Blood when he found the safe spot.
Yeah.
And then Mod Ash like instantly fixed it, and then you see like the boss kind of just like, now I'm walking towards you.
Yeah.
But Blizzard, there's been some crazy exploits that get discovered, and then Blizzard doesn't even say anything, and they just like fix it, and then the accounts don't even get banned or anything. Yeah. But sorry, go on.
I'm just like trying to imagine. Let's say your scenario is what happened. Could you imagine you're doing a little stream, having a little fun? I'm gonna do these T-bows here, and then you're like, okay, a week goes by, and then you're at work, and someone's like, "There's a T-bow spawn right here," and you're like, your heart would just drop, like, oh my god,
yeah,
I thought I deleted them all.
There's a big heartbeat in your colon all of a sudden.
And you're just like, oh my god, that was me. I'm getting fired over. Yeah. I don't know. I've been there. You've probably been there where you're like younger. You do a little thing that's like,
no, I'm perfect.
But you do a little prank on someone or something, and then you're like, no, you fucked up because this happened. And you're like, oh crap! I was just trying to have some fun.
Your face just guilt. Like you know what I mean? You're just like, oh shit! Like to the point where like someone behind you is like, look how he's reacting to the news. He probably did it.
Yeah. I was when I was working construction, I was working with these three guys. We're in a house, and one of them was doing cartwheels or whatever. I made a Snapchat, and I put it of them doing cartwheels in a house and stuff. And then I put on my Snapchat, whatever, and I had the boss's son on Snapchat as well.
Ooh.
So I also worked there. And then the guy who was doing cartwheels got a text from the boss that was saying, are you guys even working or just doing cartwheels in the house? Something like that. And then, the same thing happened to me. Like, my heart just dropped from him. Like, oh my god, that I just got the guy. But the boss was just kind of joking around and stuff.
Oh, okay. So, what a dick move from that son.
Yeah, so he turns out
you're doing cartwheels, wheels, Snapchat.
Yeah, so then afterwards we went and talked to him. Like, oh, we were just... He's like, listen, guys, I don't need to hear the excuse. I was just kidding around. I was just trying to get you guys all panicked.
Yeah.
Go do your work. I don't really care. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That would suck to be in that position. But while we got the music running, this conspiracy can go anywhere, right? What if a JMod added that? And they could have been one of the first people to do some real-world trading with it.
So, here's my thing. Is that he deletes them on stream, and it's like when I watched that clip, watched it a couple times, I'm like, man, it looks like he deletes all of them. How did one get there? But let's just say,
what if a different JMod, not him, saw that and he was like, this is it.
Well,
I can frame him.
There is Mod Ted who recently started at Jagex. He looks very similar to other mods that like. Legally, we're not allowed to mention their name because we've mentioned them too much.
Yeah.
But but has a big mustache that kind of looks fake.
Wears glasses that don't look like kind of hipstery looking glasses. I don't even know if there's lenses in them.
Yeah, his nose.
Wears a hat a lot.
Yeah, his nose is like a different skin color or skin tone than the rest of his face.
Yeah, he has a turtleneck all the time.
Yeah. What if he was like, yo, boys. Because imagine you and your hypothetical clan of boys on alts are like, everyone get your own world, stand on this square, start grabbing T-bows. Just start grabbing and then they go and they start selling them. They leave, and someone's like, T-bow on the ground. Everyone, there's a T-bow on the. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, no.
Well, like I saw a Reddit post of being like that pointed this out. That was like, there's a T-bow spawn right here.
If you're one of the first people to get in on this, you're making what? Like, let's just say it's like a 50% ratio. I think it might be a bit higher now. I have no idea how much, but like $600 a minute.
That's a good IRL moneymaker.
Yeah. I mean, there are people that like have admitted that they got banned for real world trading, like almost like it was like 6,000 euros or something. Or maybe it was pounds. I think it was, it doesn't really matter. Not Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the conversion rate is, but...
So yeah, pretty big bug in the game this week.
My
Definitely
thing is, it took them so, like, how fast were they on the max cash stack bug?
Yeah, they were pretty fast, but I almost want to think the problem with this one is it's so random that, like, I saw the picture on the subreddit and I was like, I thought it was fake. I thought it was just...
thought it was the meme,
yeah. I thought it was a joke. So I was like, okay, whatever. But then I saw the dev blog and some of the tweets and I was like, wow, this is a real thing. Mm-hmm. So I could see the same thing happening over at Jagex headquarters where like someone's like, you guys see that post on the subreddit about the guy who's picking up a T-bow off the ground and it keeps spawning back? Yeah, I saw that, whatever. It's with all the Swampoletic memes. It's funny. I get it. Funny. And then probably someone's like, I'm just going to go, guys, this is real. I just checked it on my account. And they're like, okay, let's see there, Ted. Why do you have 7 T-bows in your inventory? No, I just want to make sure they were real. And yeah, you can still sell them and stuff. And like, this is crazy.
I was just looking at the conversion rates for gold to money. It's not a big deal.
I just want to know how big of a problem this is actually going to be. So I was looking up, for the gold selling sites to see, if people are actually accepting these. And they are. They really, really are. A friend told me.
How come there's only 4 people in your area? Why are people disconnecting as they get near you? I don't know.
Is that a potato we see in your... All right, Ted, this is your first week here. We're going to talk to you for a minute.
He's just sneaking back in.
The cops come.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen this man?
What if he has like an in to like the server where they do their... Maybe he's like just like slipping in these like hidden updates.
He's in jail and he still has like a computer that's hooked up.
You know how like Mexican like mobs or gang members, like that one dude, I forget what his name was, that guy. There's a really popular interview, but he's super high up, like the Mexican drug cartel, or he was, and he explains how, like, in jail, you just conduct business as usual.
Interesting.
But, like, it's, like, the same thing, though. He's just, like, business as usual. He's got, like, a secret phone in the bathroom. Speaking of, there's a guy that used to stream RuneScape in prison?
Was that you who was showing me it?
Yeah. He hasn't streamed in, like, 4 months, so hopefully he's out, but, well... Hopefully he's been rehabilitated, I should say, and he's out. But he would, like, sit in the bathroom, smoke cigarettes, and play RuneScape on his phone.
What kind of jail is this?
But, like, you can smuggle some crazy... There was a news story...
Guy smuggles in a Wi-Fi router.
There was a news story of a guy who, like, it was, like, his Facebook was him in jail, but he had, like, huge, like, 4-foot glass bongs, and there's, like, actual videos of him, like, smoking bowls in his cell, like, during the day, just, like, free blowing, just, like, ripping mad bees, and, like...
And no other, like, prison mates would sell you out if you're the guy who has, like, the flat screen TV and you have, like, Wi-Fi, and they're just like, yo, we going to Charlie's on Saturday to watch some Netflix?
Yeah, it's like Skin Mag, like, that whole, like, oh, this guy's got a porn things. No, this guy's got a browser subscription on his like Razer gaming laptop. In between League games, he's just popping.
He's got the Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
He literally converted his cell into virtual reality.
He's doing a service for the prisoners.
This chick's doing ASMR IRL stream on Twitch in jail. ASMR like stabbing. I don't know.
Tapping her nails on concrete.
Yeah. I don't know how we got off on that tangent. But yeah. So Mod Jed's probably orchestrating this from prison already.
Yeah. So we're limited to using his name like 7 times an episode. So luckily we can say it now.
At this point, the Jags team has skipped over this. They heard Ted and like, okay, cool.
Good.
Skip over it.
Good. They sent us that check in the mail.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
Hush money. It's clearly not enough, though.
Those Wilderness podcast journalists are onto us again.
Would have got away with it. Who are those meddling podcasters?
Yeah, so this bug happened. It was a big deal. Lots of progress had been lost. You know, it sucks. 2 hours.
Yeah.
Good thing I wasn't doing no Hydra or something like that.
Good thing I was at work, or maybe I was sleeping, and then I went to work. I don't know. I got home, got my computer, booted up my PC, had like 60 messages on Discord, and I went, what did I do? That's the first thing I thought, and I started reading them. It's like, Tebow bug, Tebows are spawning everywhere. And I'm like, what? Like going through them, screenshots of this guy holding 5 in his inventory. Like, dude, I got all these Tebows, I don't know what to do. And like, when I got my 4-man split, it was literally the day before. It was like Thursday night, the Tebow split, and then like the next day, like this happens. Dude, it was nuts. But I was just like, what is it? This is 2 big mess ups from Jagex that like mess with the economy pretty hard.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it's all been fixed. People have been banned. The people have been swapping and buying bonds, like permanent bans on like most of them.
Yeah, because they know it was a bug. I mean, everyone knew it was a bug, but these guys were like, I want to try to get around it.
But the main thing is like, I want, with even 100 mil, like you're buying bonds and stuff.
That's a lot.
What I want to know though is, what if someone, like just a casual mobile player, is anyone who's like, I'm going to buy some bonds and sees how, like, 9 mil for bonds, and then they just go buy a bunch of bonds with real life money. Like, what happened to those guys? And those people probably wouldn't use Reddit.
Yeah, or same kind of scenario. What if you buy 100 bonds, you start giving it to random people, like using it on them?
Oh shit!
And then it's like, oh, a bunch of people got banned, and he's like, what? This guy gave me a bond, and now I'm banned. This is.
But like, I wonder if anyone got scammed out of their real life money buying like bonds to sell on the GE.
That's true.
Because like, if people are bonding, because you could like with 100 mil, that's like how much are bonds? What,
3 mil? Let's
3 mil. Yeah, like you can like, get so much just membership for free. You can cancel that sub. You just
it's like half a year.
Yeah, just keep using it on yourself. Anyways,
craziness. So yeah, it happened. Great way to end the month.
Update that controversial calendar.
Yeah, it had a friend up there, and then this one definitely overtook that. So
yeah, hopefully it overtakes it.
Yeah,
maybe it might be 50-50, but yeah,
depends on who it is, I guess. But pretty crazy stuff. Anyways, we'll move on to community chatter.
Yep.
So I didn't see a whole lot happening this week. Well, I mean, I saw a whole lot, but we've already talked about it.
Yeah.
But coming up on March 8th, the women at Jagex are holding an Ask Me Anything on Reddit.
Did we talk about workplace harassment last episode?
We might have.
Okay, does this sound familiar? Someone being farted on at Blizzard?
Yes.
Okay, we totally did that.
That's a big moment for you. Yeah. Right? Big news for your week.
Dude, imagine you're just like doing some art or some assets, and some dude's like, "Hey man, how's it going?" Like casually puts his butt on your shoulder and just like rips a nice warm one, a nice milky fart in your face.
I saw a post today. You know those like air cannons? It's like this giant plastic shell, and it has like a hard plastic, then it has like a plastic sheet almost that you can pull back, like a bungee cord, and you release it, and it shoots like a gust of air at someone. I was reading about how people would fart in them and then shoot them at people. So could you imagine, like, you're just sitting there at lunch, like, oh, what's that? Why? There's no one even around.
Like, coming to work next day with pink eye.
Guys, I can't see. The women of Jagex are doing an Ask Me Anything for, I believe it's, was it National Women's Day?
Okay, it's not because Jagex heard us and we're like, oh, okay, we need
the fart scandal. We can't let that fart scandal get out.
Ladies, don't talk about the farting. Don't talk about the farting.
So they're going to be holding that on March 8th. So you go and if you have questions, you can queue that up on Reddit. They should
probably make an AMA, ask me almost anything, because it's like, what's your RuneScape game?
Yeah.
You want to be my GF 10K?
How many GP for your Snapchat account?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, this isn't on the RuneScape Reddit. It's actually on the Ask Me Anything subreddit.
Okay.
So you'll need to go there to actually see it all, or if you want to participate. So it's not just like RuneScape players. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Keep your eye out for that. I guess we'll talk about that next week then.
It's good to always participate. There was something really interesting I didn't discover, but I learned about the game, and it's the way special attacks work. And I didn't know this until I was raiding, because I bring Dragon Claws for this one boss named Vasa, because the crystals are weak to the attack style of stab, and I thought if I were to use the stab option with Dragon Claws and then spec it would do crazy damage all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you can still hit hard, but the main thing is that I found out that the Dragon Claws will always do slash damage instead of stab.
Okay.
So that's just the pre-phase. But I went and tweeted Mod Ash about this, and he enlightened me that special attacks have unique properties on its attack styles. So if you have a God Sword and you're let's say you're killing gargoyles and you have a Sarah God Sword to heal up, there's no point in switching for Crush, because they're weak to Crush, to do the spec and then go back to whatever.
Wow.
Because it will always do slash. Because and same thing with the DDS. Whatever the animation looks like, that's probably what the attack style will always be no matter what. That being said, obviously the style, the difference is where you gain the experience and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on you get shared experience with the D-Claw spec on stab because it's controlled.
Okay.
But your damage calculation will be based off their slash defense.
Yes, the experience stays the same. It's just the accuracy that changes.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting, because that was one of my arguments about remembering your attack style, because at Cerberus, I got annoyed at having to switch my Sarah Godsword and then putting it on Crush.
Yeah.
So I guess it doesn't even matter.
It's funny, placebo effect. It's funny also because there is a little bit of a difference between accurate, aggressive, and defensive in terms of you are more accurate on you can get a higher max hit on aggressive depending on how it all plays out.
Okay.
What your stats are and stuff at the time, and your strength bonus. And then defense, you will have it's super minor, points of a percentage of your staking. Fun fact, if you like to switch your attack styles when you're staking, just keep it on flick. You have the best chance. The accurate, not lash and not deflect. But if you swap on ticks, then obviously that's preferable. So yeah, I don't know. I thought that was cool, because I've always, up until a couple days ago, swapped my SGS to Crush on monsters weak to Crush, and then stab and slash, whatever. You know what I mean? I would choose the optimal attack style.
There's all these little things that you don't really know, because you'd have to actually get into the code of the game, or have someone tell you.
Yeah, and it's just neat that it's a special attack. That's just how it is. Imagine D-Claw specking, but you're stabbing. It's not D-Claw spec. It makes sense.
That's cool. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, with all that being said, we come up to our segment here where we like to go back to how the game was and the updates were each week as we do the show. So this week we will be teleporting back to February 28th and March 2nd of 2001. So the first update is yet another new quest and new option menus. And it says here, Prince Ali of Al-Kharad is being held captive by the Lady Kelly. If you think you're up to the daring rescue mission, then go to Al-Kharad and talk to Chancellor Hassan. This is a long quest with many parts. Many thanks to Rab for many hours he spent creating it, and to Paul for configuring it for use in the game. So, Prince Ali Rescue, is that what it's called? Is that the quest? So that quest came out. They also say here, working on new menu options to allow you to configure the game to your liking. So far, there are only 2 options. The first option allows you to choose the behavior of the camera. The new camera mode is the first step in a new system I am developing, which will ultimately make RuneScape run much faster for people with slow computers. The second option is to switch your character between PK and non-PK. You can only switch twice, so choose carefully. That's great. I will be adding more options to the menu as required. I've also been working on a system to support clans/friends list. This isn't ready yet, but work is progressing well and I expect it to be available soon. It's funny, they're working on clans for this long. It took them like 5 years to actually bring out clan chats.
Yeah.
More than that.
Yeah.
So this is the time when there was no friends list yet. And before this update, you were always PvP, I guess. Or maybe you chose your account when you got off Tutorial Island.
I think you'd always be
Okay, so now you can turn it off permanently. But if you decide to turn it back on, then it's on forever.
Yeah.
You only do it twice, so. Engine work has always been an issue.
That's super weird to think that, like, Prince Ali's Rescue is one of the first quests to be brought in the game.
Yeah?
Like, you'd kind of think that, like, hey, it's 2002, and we're annoyed having to kill goblins for 10 GP. And like, okay, well, we'll have this really fun quest and have that as a reward.
Right, yeah, fair.
It's kind of cool how they thought of that, and this would be a really risky quest to do. Because you go from Alcarat, I'm assuming there's no multi-combat yet. I am assuming at this point.
We'll find out when they say we've added this new type of area.
But you have to go from, like, Alcarad, and, like, I know, well, when I played RuneScape Classic, Draenor Village is always a hotspot. That could be because of the bank and stuff, but you have to pass by Lumbridge and all that. Like, you're going through, like, heavily congested areas, and because, like, the way the map is, and I don't think there's, like, a mini-map that's, you know, like, Classic was, like, super hard to navigate and play.
They did have a mini-map at some point, but it was just like dots. Like, I know I was looking at it being like, I don't know what the hell any of these things are.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a mini-map at this point, if it was in the base game or not. But, like, you have to go through some hotspots to even do the quest. You have to go to that jail area with the
jailer.
The jailer that spawns and is now starting to kill everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that jailer probably was not there until his quest. So, it's pretty cool. And the next update that they have here, it's some fixed problems. I fixed a few minor problems with the new quest. In case you don't already know, getting the skin paste now works. And I've just solved the clay shortage problem. I'd also like to apologize for slow speed of the site. The problem has now been resolved and we're back to full speed again. I've also ordered a second dedicated server to increase the reliability and speed of RuneScape in the future. They're very transparent even back then.
Yep.
Just want to let everyone know we're getting a new server. Oh, I'm so against that.
One server. PK only.
Yeah.
Literal dead man mode. We're like
minus the experience rates.
Yeah. And we're pretty coddled today.
Yeah, if we think we have it rough and tedious.
Yeah.
This is back then. No one had ever hit a 99 yet. I'm assuming
there's no rune items in the game yet.
Yeah. I'm assuming that they're going to talk about they're going to make a post when somebody hits 99.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be a big deal because they said before, but they've never expected anyone to ever get a 99.
Yep.
They made that experience that high because it's just like, no, you just kind of play it. But they didn't think people's goals were to get a max level in a skill. Okay, now that we're back, we'll take a stroll to that grand exchange. So first things I want to talk about is Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/wild to get a free month and a free audiobook. If you like podcasts and you like reading books, or maybe you like just audiobooks, well, there's a ton available there. So if you're interested, check it out. audibletrial.com/trial. And you can also support us, the show, directly by going to patreon.com/thewildernesspodcast. Our supporter of the week is level 100 Raichu. Raichu. Is it Raichu or Raichu?
I've always said Raichu.
Yeah.
The Pokemans.
It's probably not a proper pronunciation, though. Fuck, I haven't played a Pokemon game in so long.
Hey, new ones coming out on Switch. Sword and Shield.
Sword and Shield are going to items now. They moved off from like gems and stuff.
Well, it was Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eve.
Oh, yeah. And then that was your standard Pokemon game, was it?
Well, that was on the Switch. I think they're a little bit different. They're very different, and And then now they're coming out with Sword and Shield.
Man, the last one I like played pretty intensely was gotta be Crystal Gold and Silver, where I played like, what is it, Emerald, Sapphire, and Ruby were the next ones.
Yeah,
I played those a bit, but I not as much as Crystal.
Yeah, those Sapphire, I had so much playtime in that. Oh my!
I remember
God.
enjoying it, but I don't remember it as well as.
I remember going
Crystal.
to my one friend's house, and like him and all of his brothers had Sapphire, and I had Sapphire too. But like we just like would like hang out, sit down, and just like play Pokemon Sapphire, and we'd all just sit there on our Game Boy Advance, it's just like just shredding it.
I remember we rented that when we were kids. We rented it from Blockbuster, I believe, the game. Do you remember this? We got it, and the way the menus are is like you'll have your saved file, but then directly below it, it'll say new game. But the way it looks is that's an empty slot, so you could have two saved files. That's just the way it looked. And I remember, like, you would make an account, you'd play it for like an hour or two, then I would play, and I would see that new game thing, and I'd click it, and it would just delete your file. And then you would go on, and then you would do the same thing after realizing yours was gone. Like, oh, I'll just make a new file then. You must have accidentally deleted it or saved over it. And we did that a few times before we realized, oh, shit, only one of us could have an account.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times.
I remember that. The only Pokemon I haven't, the only gen was Diamond and Pearl and all that. It's the only one I've never touched. I've played them all. I've beaten most of them except for like X and Y. I just didn't like it.
I just remember you were playing one, so I ended up going out and buying one. It was like black and white.
Yep.
I think, but there was like a Pokemon called Sarcophagus.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, I died a little inside, and I was like,
you see the Sunday?
What?
It's a Sunday Pokemon.
Is it called like Ice Cream Sundae?
It's close.
Really? So like, I was like, man, they've lost their.
They've run out of ideas.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Crippling depression, Mon. They're just like off. They just have like no idea what to name Pokemon anymore.
But yeah, thank you very much for supporting us. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, and congrats on the Big Asians.
Oh, that is right.
Yeah,
very cool stuff. Yeah, congrats there. Yeah, and I guess we'll talk about what we got going on in the show. We had our hide and seek event that went on the weekend, where Magpie came up with all these pretty creative ideas and all these really good riddles that went along with it. We gave away like 25 mil, 20 mil, which was donated by Bale O'Hay, so I want to say thank you for donating that. And then 5 mil was donated from Magpie himself. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a good time, and the event went pretty well. Now, that being said, we are starting to plan our next event. Not sure what we're going to do yet, but I have some ideas. So Bale O'Hay actually donated us 100 mil to use as events. So we still got
80 mil. Wow, I can't believe you donated 40 mil.
Exactly. But yeah, so we're looking for another event to do so we can get rid of another chunk of it. And I've been playing around with some ideas. We did a Connect 4 tournament before, which was actually a lot of fun. I enjoyed hosting that one. We might do that one again. Or using the games room, maybe go with checkers this time. A checkers tournament. And the third idea that I was thinking of was maybe like a Jeopardy-styled game. So I saw that there's a bunch of templates online you can use to create your own Jeopardy questions and stuff. Or I should say answers, because the way the show works is never really understood why. But anyways, yeah, if you have any suggestions of what you think would sound, what would be what you prefer out of the three, or some different ideas that you also think are cool, let me know, because I'm still trying to figure things out. Those three ideas itself, it's going to be a sign up for it, where if it's the tournament, anyone can sign up, but Jeopardy would be like limited to like 5 people per round. But yeah, right now it's kind of up in the air. Not sure when it's going to be. Not sure what the event will be. So definitely give us your suggestions if there's anything that sounds more appealing to you.
Yep. And then little thing, I guess I probably teased about it last week. About the Wild Boys mass raid. I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast.
Wild Boys and Gals.
Yep. So on the 9th, because my schedule changed a bunch, I wasn't able to announce the actual day. Saturday the 9th should be when the day is for that big mass, and it'll be like 9:30 EST would be a good time to like enter the raid. So before that, we'll all, chill if you want, but everyone's welcome. Doesn't matter what level. Just like you kind of need members to get to Xerix, and we'll like help you get there. And then hopefully at 9:30 we'll enter. It's going to be awful. We're all going to die a bunch.
But it's all for the fun.
It'll be fun. If for somehow someone gets an item, they get to keep it. Like it's a free-for-all. You're not obligated to split it with anybody. Well, yeah, the main thing though is, it'll be fun. Good learning experience. I don't know, like, there are some really good resources to like start learning already, like Sync's Guide, but it's like 3 hours long. A lot of the resources I'll be posting will be like picture-based, image-based, just for like
much more digestible.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be fun.
Yeah, neat stuff. So yeah, definitely check that out on Saturday. That should be a good time. And the last thing we got going on, we're doing a little bit of a book club right now where a bunch of us are reading the first. So RuneScape has 3 novels written by T.S. Church, and we're going through the novels. We're on the first one right now, and each week we set a handful of chapters, and we read them and we kind of talk about it because it's actually a pretty good book. I'm pretty well enjoying it, and if you haven't got your book yet, or maybe it sounds interesting, but you're like, I don't want to jump in halfway through. We're only like 10 chapters in. And you could easily read that in a week if you wanted to. But yeah, it's a pretty good book. I've been enjoying it. It's not like cringy or anything like that. If worried about reading a RuneScape book, it's just like a typical fantasy book set in the RuneScape universe. So it's pretty neat. I have been enjoying it, and should be good stuff.
Yep.
Anyways, if you want to hang out with us in game, you can do that at WildCC. That's our clan chat. Our Facebook is facebook.com/The Wilderness Podcast. We also have a group where you can go in. It's much easier to talk with others. So if that's your thing, jump in there. Our Twitter is @TheWildernessRS. And our email is thewilderness.podcast@gmail.com. And our Discord is linked on both Facebook and Twitter. And Deegan, you got your things there?
Twitch, Twitter, DeeganRS.
Perfect. And I almost forgot, but I didn't. We did actually get an email this week from Phil. So he says, he's wrote in before, but he's saying here, hey, you guys talked about money making on the last 2 episodes, and I think we need advice on that more than anything. I've been getting frustrated lately because my new money making goal is to get that oh so sexy Bandos chest plate. Unfortunately, I'm about 19 mil short. What would you say is the best way for me to make money to get to that goal right now? Right now, my go-to method is Blue Dragons. Is that my best bet? Here are my stats. So his stats seem to be about base 60s in combat, base 40s and all the other skills.
Can you look up how much Bandos chest plate are? 20 mil?
Yeah, 20.2.
Okay, so
I also want to say the first thing is like I don't know if I would say Blue Dragons are that good moneymakers. I've never seen them to be that great, at least.
Yeah, so Blue Dragons is it's not a good way to make money.
Yeah, I would almost say if you're going to do the dragon route, green dragons in the wilderness might be better.
Yeah,
just be careful, but you can always teleport out.
Yeah, that would definitely be more optimal if you want to specifically kill dragons for money. But there are better ways to make money. I can't see his stats from here. And I notice, I don't know if you only play on mobile, but I do notice that like the picture he shows it is on mobile, so I'm going to assume they play on mobile. My best advice would be like you could transition from combat based so here let me restart. So I wouldn't suggest at this point getting a Bandos chest plate because in our last episode I mentioned like a fighter torso is like just as good because sure Bandos is nice at range defense and all that, but the one thing that makes it its value is the strength bonus.
Yep.
And the fighter torso, which doesn't cost anything, just some time at Barbarian Assault, which is actually really fun. Believe it or not, like if you just look at some YouTube videos on how to do the rolls, like it's actually a good time. And with your stats, you're able to do it.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun, but
yeah, or it maybe bugs some people in the clan chat because I know
I'm trying to get everything any level 5s.
Yeah, and I'm down for that too. It's fun when you're doing it with a group of if you get a good group together. It's great. It's worse when you do a group, you do a full run, and then they all just break up.
Yep.
That's the pain in the ass, is finding the teams. But, you find a good team, you can easily run through it a bunch of times, right?
Yep. But I wouldn't suggest it, but if you just really want it, like, obviously it's your game, it's your subscription. I'm not going to tell you to not do something that you want to do. But there are better ways you could make money. And I don't know if you choose Dragons because it's kind of AFK.
It could also be like a throwback to the old days, right?
Yeah. So, I noticed you have, 50 smithing?
50 smithing, yep.
So you could opt into making steel bars at Blast Furnace minigame, but that would require you to do motherlode mining to get the coal bag. And so you will get some mining levels, some money from the ores and stuff, but then you can unlock the coal bag, which you need to store your coal and do Blast Furnace. And I was just looking up a guy because we could explain it, but a little rambly, a little ranty, and the guy probably it's better, more to the point. But you could do making steel bars.
Yeah.
Which is you get some decent experience and some decent money. There are some skilling methods, a lot of skilling methods like that you could be doing that would make you more money. If you want to if that's the only thing you care about, I would do that.
Because the big thing is the Bandos chestplate it's a pretty big ticket item. I didn't get mine until must have been level 110 or something. But it's also because I was buying other things instead, because the fighter torso, as you mentioned, is a perfect substitute for it. A lot of times people will save that extra 10 mil and get the leggings first, the tassets, because they offer the most in the leg slot. And then the other option too is Obsidian, right? Whereas not as good, but it's good if you're kind of want a temporary boost to your armor.
Yeah, I'm not I'm just gonna assume that the motivation for the BCP is just a nostalgic, it's your favorite item or something. But there are better ways to spend the item. So I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast on how I got full ancestral and all that stuff, where it's a big money sink where I have 150 mil that I can't spend on merchanting. So I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that with I spent a good chunk of my money that I made into mage gear, which typically is a bad idea. Mm-hmm. But for me and my situation and what I enjoy doing at the moment requires, or I'm able to utilize that stuff really well. And kind of an investment into I want to do a bunch of raids, and Ancestral's a really good thing because I can just wear Blessed D'hide. I don't have to spend 80 mil getting 25 extra accuracy, on Arma. The upgrade for me, getting that mage gear and getting the extra max hits and all that, was so much that it made it into something worthwhile to get now. And then I bought my own Bandos chestplate because it's the same way with me. It's the way I kind of min-max my gold usage into certain items and making my items more efficient for what I had, bang for my buck, pretty much what I'm trying to say. And so you could take that approach if you want, but if you really want a Bandos chestplate, you might just have to with your stats and you want your money ASAP, you might have to do something boring. Well, some people would consider boring, Blast Furnace. You might enjoy it, just depending on what you want to do. With that money you have right now, if you have a miller, too, you could, just have it sit in the Grand Exchange buying fire runes at 5 GP and then sell them for 6. Mm-hmm. You lose 2 slots because you're going to have them slow buying and slow selling, but it's literal free money that requires no work. It's not a lot, but it's a starting point, and it will help you boost while you're doing other things.
Another thing could be is if you're looking to do combat too, just crack away at that Slayer. You're not going to make money right now, but it's down the road it'll help you, and by the time you're at a point in your account where you're gonna benefit a lot from a Bandos chestplate.
Yeah,
by the time you get there, your Slayer will be high. You'll have the money from Slayer.
Yeah, because you could use that 20 mil and buy other, because it's one piece for I guess one's combat style for attack strength and defense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money sitting on that specifically that you'd actually be able to get more strength bonus if you were to buy like a berserker ring, obsidian legs and chest and all that. Or like even if you're not big in a slayer, you could buy like full obsidian gear. You know what I mean? I don't know how much a berserker necklace is. Do you know how much?
3 mil.
You could buy like a full set of obsidian armor and like a berserker necklace and like the Obby dagger. And like if you just want like AFK NMZ or something, that's what your like, goal is or whatever, like you're gonna get more DPS out of that than like having just like a Bandos chestplate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just off the top of my head, because it's kind of hard to think of random methods that you could do at your level with your stats. I think Blast Furnace is something worth looking into. Also, so do the Varrock Museum history quiz. If you guys who have never done that, it's free 1K Slayer and Hunter experience.
And the Hunter's the big one because it's so slow to train at a lower level.
Yeah.
I think I went from level 1 to 29 in one day. And the following day I went from like level 29 to 60.
It's like the slowest grind, but you can get level 9 instantly.
It'll help a lot, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, if you need more elaboration, or if you want to elaborate more in terms of like why and what you're doing and all that stuff, like why you want the chest plate and what you enjoy doing, that'd be a lot easier to like come up with something. Because Blast Furnace is nice because you get that smithing requirement or that level, which is pretty decent, and you're gonna make money.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully that helps out, but if not, feel free to elaborate a bit and we can probably maybe really nail down what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much for the email. I always love getting the emails. They're fun to read and go over on the podcast.
Yeah, side note, with the bars you make and you want to AFK, you could just turn them into cannonballs as you're AFKing.
Yeah.
And you make a little bit more money, but,
it's time.
I want to actively train. Make some steel bars. I want to AFK and like make some money and a little training. Make some, you know what I mean? Like you can, depending on how much you want to AFK.
And like I said, if that doesn't really appeal to you, my go-to is just get that Slayer up.
Yeah.
And eventually your account will just be ready, like maybe start doing some bosses and stuff. And that's where you start getting those big drops and big splits. So again, thank you very much for that. I guess we'll move on to what our song of the week is going to be. It is Armageddon. This song is a music track that is unlocked in the main area of the God Wars dungeon. 1 rope is needed to enter. Some trivia, too. The music track seems to contain elements of the other God Wars dungeon tracks. If you listen closely, parts of it sound very similar to Armadillo Alliance, Bandos Battalion, Strength of Saradomin, and Zamorak Zoo. Zamorak's got the lamest sounding song. Whatever. And also, the name of the song may refer to the site where an epic battle takes place at the end of time, according to the Abrahamic religions, which is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. At the place where the song is unlocked, the God Wars dungeon, an epic battle takes place as well. Wow. How uncanny.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, this song was composed by Adam Bond. Released October 17th, 2013. Right. Makes sense.
Yep, the inventor of old school bonds.
So the word on the street is. All right, guys, thank you very much for listening. Until next week, keep your eyes out for those Tebow drops.
Yep, and have a good one.
Take care, everybody.